Better leave it to the professionals.
Last by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Bodie.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top and smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. It warms up the algo and does us a real solid. We greatly appreciate it. While you're up there, smash the reminders for the rest of the shows this week on the carousel and head over to all the chats this morning. The abstract chat, we're live on Steve's feed today, as well as the X video feed on Steve's account and our YouTube account. Why, if you have not yet subscribed and give us a like and all that stuff over in YouTube, we greatly appreciate that. Good chance to plug our podcast as well. Our guy Payne deserves 6 stars. So if you've not hit him up with that, go give us that 5-star rating review. We'd greatly appreciate it. As always, I'm Captain. I'm my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. Go to zero to moment. So please don't put any money you can afford to lose. Know that Steve and I hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time in the show. We're not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisors. Don't join us for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, and some education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM doing well. GM to the GMers who GM. Mel out there, Marathon, Crypto, Machiavelli always, RDL, Bordo Saka, Diablito, Thomas, Mesh, Teacher Katie, Green Edge, Dwayne, Be Epic, all hanging out in the chat as well. I'll work on getting the space up here soon, but no, man, I'm doing well. I'm a little bit feel like slightly under the weather. I just think I ate something that didn't agree with me last night, and so I slept funny. But yeah, GM to all the folks out there in the Dort, OC, Dobbins, Machiavelli, again, Mel, Aspiring Nobody, Digital Dad, Joey Val, Saucier, Eagles, Mike C, Boo, Kazi, Mesh, FFV every morning, Das Scrub, Floor Slime, good to see you out there as well. Good to see all our friends out there in all the different chats. But yeah, man, I'm doing all right. Feeling okay. I just kind of a little bit off this morning. Just one of those things where it's like you don't eat something and you're closing in on 42 years old, so you're just, not feeling great. But other than that, I mean, like, market's basically flat. Still grinding my way through everything. So I don't know. What about you?
Good start to the day. I found $560 that I had wasn't expecting. So always made a bet on a team, I don't even know, a little over a year ago at a party round for IMF, the International Meme Fund. You remember Clouded, and he had co-founder or two in that. But I forgot completely about it. It's one of those, one of a few thousand NFTs in that wallet. And long story short, I saw someone else talking about it on the timeline. They actually launched a few weeks ago, and I had missed that they launched. I missed the claim went live, and yeah, that NFT that was, I think it was a 0.1 mint, if I remember right. It ended up, and I haven't sold, so who knows? Could go up, could go down from here. But yeah, each NFT was, you could claim about, as of today, about $560 in the IMF token.
Only in crypto you find $560 in the couch cushions. It's just I think sometimes about the money I probably have in random, not like real DeFi protocols. I'm talking about like, I mean, I think it's now down to like nothing, but like my meme land and my pirate token and that sort of stuff. Meme land being one of my biggest.
You still playing Nation? Or you faded after they did the last
I haven't played it as much, honestly. Like, I mean, I kind of talked to I've talked to a couple of people about this. I think that's why, one, it's important to have aligned incentive structures, and two, like, I don't know if you remember, they basically gave a forced vesting period. They announced the day of the token drop. So I'm locked up for 6 months, but I kind of like was a little frustrated and stopped playing at that moment. I was going to keep playing because I do like the game, but I got a little frustrated. I stopped. And I just haven't really picked it up much since. So honestly, not really.
I've got another. Last time I checked, like I was doing Zed every day and it's passive. Like you don't have to do anything. But I was getting in there. I was doing some breeding. I was moving some horses around, and it just wasn't it for me. Quickly lost. I should have just sold everything immediately. But how they're doing their seasons, like I just saw, like I'm on a leaderboard still because it's auto racing. You don't have to do anything, and I stand to win like $700 this first season. But yeah, they lost me, man. I don't, it's a me thing. I really do think it's a me thing. And I don't know, like the reality is I'm not a hardcore gamer. I enjoy games of skill. And like, for me, I enjoy gaming, like drafting a best ball team that I think is plus EV, or putting out a plus EV parlay. Like that's the gaming I enjoy. And there's elements of this in the on-chain gaming. It's just, I don't know. I just don't think I'm ready to be hurt again. There's just everything that I got excited about on the on-chain gaming front. It ended up rugging me one way or another, whether it was fucking Swoops that did a hard rug, and like they had a good product. Like it was fun. They had a good, like they were doing community events and stuff, and they just pulled the plug. I can't even remember the name of this, the Martian Premier League or something, that like started out hot and then just fizzled. Like it's just hard building a game and keeping user attention. And I know I'm not, it's more me than the developers, but
no, it's not. I don't think it is. I think it's, you need to, I mean, like we talked about, by the way, give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room, a bookmark, help us get it started. Always helps, cost you nothing. Helps us out to show, if nothing else, it shows that we are trending in the algo, and it gets the people going. So it gets people here. So like, retweet, comment, bookmark in the room. I don't think it's you as much. I think part of the problem with gaming is Zed had scale. And I think scale, at least not like in the traditional sense, because people are like, oh, Web3 doesn't scale. No, but I mean like scale in the sense of like when you had to wait an hour to race, and then you had this, and you would line your horses up in like 10 races, and then you would like watch them go boom, 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 boom. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to race against, like, Battle Plan's a good example of this.
You know,
and I know Battle.
I got to get this out. You just unlocked something for me. I'm going to give this feedback to the Zed team today. They were too early to infofy. I know they actually were pleased with the results they got pre-relaunch of the new game, right? but it was really before InfoFi had its moment. I think they were one of the first ones that were like, hey, this worked for us. This helped us re-engage our community. But it was all pre-launch. They shot their load too early. Like they should have. That's probably poor wording. They should have waited or did a longer campaign. Yeah, you don't want to be thinking about horses in that.
That was aggressive for 8:10 in the morning. But go off, King. You're feeling it.
Maybe
a little bit of a heat check there. Go ahead.
Sometimes you just say things when you're 920. You just say things and you're like that would I could have worded that differently. Now that's the only way I can think to word this phrase. I'm
not even helping you out here. I'm just intentionally.
Help me out here. They should have spread out their campaign over half of it pre-launch, the second half post-launch, because what they had back in where they captured that zeitgeist is the community content creation. The UGC, user-generated content, is so freaking powerful in this space. They had it before InfoFi. They had it. People were doing it because it was fun. They were enjoying it, and it was driving conversation. People wanted to learn. InfoFi is like throwing fuel on that fire, but I think because InfoFi exists now, it's almost like you almost have to play the game, or you're just not going to get enough momentum on the timeline.
To a degree. So I think first of all, yeah, I mean, I think that they
they probably can't go back, and we probably don't have another 100K to throw at Kaido for another campaign, since it's probably for naught. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I think it would have benefited them a lot more if it was now, and like all these races, you'd have just a lot more content of the actual gameplay. And it's not bad for a passive game. It's just, I don't know, man. It's really on-chain gaming PTSD for me.
A couple of things. One, Thomas is now questioning putting cream in his coffee. Thanks to Cap. You
shouldn't put cream in your coffee.
Yeah, I mean in general, but I don't know if you're the reference you made.
Oh, gotcha.
Horses. I think, like, here's the thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna like unpack what their marketing budget and what their plans are, but Zed did thrive off user generated content, and I have no understanding as to why they wouldn't want to continue to make that sing, right? So, like, to your point that you made, why are they not like working with creators, honestly, like yourself, to like stream and sort of bring more of that forward? Why are they not doing an InfoFi campaign even on their own based on user generated content? It's just, I don't track the way that they're trying to do their marketing and their reasoning behind the way they do things. And again, it's not supposed to be a shade on things. I think the scale, like we talked about, like that's part of what made Zed magical, is that there was this scale that people had, that everybody was playing Zed. Like everybody was playing it, talking about it. They were like, oh, and so, yeah, I mean, like the InfoFi thing was too early, but like, I was going to say on Battle Plan. So I actually liked Battle Plan by Pixelbook. It's like a game where you would like choose skills and then it would fight on its own. I forget what type of game it's called. Like you didn't do the actual fighting in the game. The game fought on its own. And I ended up playing against like the same dozen people. There was characters that you had to have certain things in that would get you nerfed. And like, I stopped playing it. It wasn't fun for me anymore. And I think like for you, like it's just, there isn't the scale. There isn't the rush. It's like, it's probably not the same 5 people you want to be racing against at all times.
I'm also very money motivated, and I was making money, and like, I'm just gonna sound like an asshole when I say this, because like I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna cash out $700 in a few weeks. Like I'm not above that, but the upside isn't there, right? Like in the past, like there was a chance you breed a horse, you'd sell it for 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand, like crazy results. That isn't necessarily there. It's become more of a, and it's, I don't even know how to explain how I feel about it. I just, like, I want something to stick. Something that, like, okay, is more of a fun to go like check in daily than go claim my check in on Myriad Market every day, or go do the 15 things on Ethos, right? Like, give me an actual game that I can do that's not just clicking a button. Like, there's some strategy to it, right? Am I making any sense? I don't even know what I'm trying to say this morning or how I even got on this topic, but slow news day, I guess.
Yeah, it is a slow news day, but I actually think I get it, man. I get it. It's just you're more motivated by you want the gamble. You're more motivated by the gamble, the potential upside, the opportunity there. And like you want to like out strategize people. It's one of the reasons why I still don't understand. I know we've talked about it on this show, but like why are we not like the like any sort of like best balls? Like we saw IKB last year. I liked IKB.
SBS is crushing it. They went live, already 100 drafts in, for a niche. You know, it's like Underdog is the king of best ball right now. Like they run circles around even DraftKings and FanDuel, who had a big lead on them. I think I've shared this before, but FanDuel actually bought the first company that the founder of Underdog started. It was a best ball product. FanDuel killed the product after his non-compete ran out. He went and started Underdog, and it's just ran circles. It's just like, it's an incredible story of, it's almost as good as Portnoy getting handed back Barstool for $1. Like it's that kind of like, he built something, was a massive success, sold it for millions of dollars. The company sunsetted it. He went and started another one, and then it built a bigger company than the company that bought his first company. Just like wild story. Anyways, they dominate that. SBS has done, like, it works. Like, it's a better product on chain. I wish more people in the best ball community understood. Like, I saw someone did a draft the other day. I think it's, I need to get the mass rate. We're by the way, we're going to get the guys on here. We'll have them on the show in the near future. I owe them just need to find a date to get the Wagner brothers on. But they, someone just drafted a team and instantly, like right after the draft, sold it for, I don't know, let's say it was a 10x because they drafted a good team. And like, the only way to realize equity in traditional best ball or fantasy is you win, you make it to the playoffs and you hit the prize, payout tier. Here, like, you can cash out early. It's like having a 6-leg parlay and you hit the first 5 and the 6
just cash out. Yeah. Before you
it's
hit
just
it.
like you can't do that. This is a real scenario where bringing it on chain truly is a better product. And this is someone like I've drafted thousands of best ball drafts. It's far better on chain than the Web 2 predecessors. It's only a matter of time, I think, before everyone goes this route. It's just, it could be years, but like this is, I think, a glimpse into the future of like, it's a better product. So yeah.
Why is there not like, again, this is me like being very specific. I don't like drafting. I don't want to draft against people like you. I don't want to spend my time and energy drafting. Why is there not the product where it's like, try to pick some, like, stack some players like daily fantasy? Like, why does this not exist still? Like, IKB did it. Why is nobody doing it? And like, as an on-chain product, it was great. It worked really well on Blast. I actually made like, a third of my money back in Blast Gold that they had taken when I drafted because there was like incentives there. And then I made money on the season and performed well. And I enjoyed it. It kept me interesting through like week 16 of the season. Why does this not exist? I don't understand why this product doesn't exist because it's like a given obvious one. Like, it feels like, how has nobody taken on the IKB model? It's free money for DraftKings or any of these companies, let alone an on-chain company. I don't get it.
I haven't talked to Andy in a while. I wonder if he's running back IKB. I would assume they're leaving Blast, but I haven't heard. I'm looking now, see if there's anything. Holy shit, I have money on that side I wasn't even aware of.
Dawn discovered like 0.2 ETH on like Blast the other day. She was like doing an OpenSea quest and she found it. Yeah.
I have found I don't know, like $700 in my couch cryptos this morning that I wasn't aware of. So good start to the day.
It's just funny because
if anyone knows where I can find one of these with like another extra 0 or 2, let me know. I will go click those buttons also.
It's just funny because the Blast one is that's a good example of randomly finding money. Like, Dawn was like doing an OpenSea quest the other day with the token swaps, and we were like, you have like 0.2 ETH on Blast? Like, just sitting there.
I truly have no idea where this money came from because I'd cleared out my account previously, so I must have got a little refund or something at some point. But it looks like it says my account. So they now have some new verification process, but it says Sportsbook is currently paused. Doesn't appear that they have a best ball product live now. I'm wondering if I'll reach out to Andy and see if they're going to run it back, if they're going to go to a different chain. yeah, it was a good product. And as far as my understanding was, he was running really lean. Like it was him and maybe, a couple part-time devs or something. I'm pretty sure he was like doing the whole thing. So should have been able to sustain hopefully. But yeah, I don't know why there's not more of it. I mean, I understand why the big players don't come in here because they don't have to. Like they're charging.
Forget crypto. I'm just saying like that style of best ball drafting. Like I like that better because I can fire off 25 drafts without ever having to like wait for a draft and the time to draft and work with other humans and make sure I'm sitting at my computer. It's like I can be like, oh man, I want to procrastinate. I'm writing something. I just finished a paragraph. Like I recorded my first article so that people can listen to it because it's like a 20-minute read or something for my blog. And it's like after I finish a 10-minute segment of that, I could go draft a best ball team. Then I could post it. Then I could draft a best ball team. It's like free money out of my pocket for somebody who, like, the same way I don't want to talk to a human on the phone when I get food delivered, the same way I don't want to talk to a human at my door when they drop my food off. It's just like I don't want to interact with everybody on drafts. Like, and I also don't want to be drafting against you who has an edge on me. I want to do it all on an even playing field. So why doesn't that exist? I don't understand. Like, forget the on-chain aspect. I don't get why best ball season-long sort of daily fantasy style with salaries doesn't exist. That was an awesome product. I loved that product. Like, I got to build all these fun stacks. And instead of me being like, oh, is this person going to be available to draft so I could stack, Tua with whoever? It's like I would just draft a team based on really good rookies, on upside. My teams that I had teams where I drafted Darnold as my cheap draft and like he would take over. Like it was fun. Like I had thesis on Rodgers, Darnold, and like one other cheap quarterback, and they all, maybe Geno Smith, all paid off last season. And so it was like I made a bunch of money on some fun thesis, and like it was more fun for me. It was like playing daily fantasy, which I like. I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox, but it doesn't make sense to me.
I know we got some hands running a little long on Cold Open this morning. Appreciate everyone being here. If you haven't done so already, give us a like, repost, bookmark. We'd appreciate it. Space has been a little slow. So we've been getting to like our normal number or pretty close to it, but it's been a slow start lately. So appreciate all the love. It looks like there was a semi-breaking news, and an Iranian exchange was hacked for like 81 million. No idea if that's related to the conflict happening at the moment, but
or if it's true, we got to just double check on that stuff.
It was Zach XBT. He usually doesn't.
Okay.
He usually doesn't.
Yeah, he's legit. I see some of that stuff sometimes, and I'm like, I got again, because we'll be live on the show, and it'll be like breaking. Like, okay, so I don't know if you saw this, and then I promise we'll let you go, and we'll get back on track. And I know Joey wants to get in here and some other folks, but it's funny because like the other day on the show, remember Pump Fun got suspended on X. I saw somebody saying breaking Ape Chain gets suspended. I was like, what? And so like I believed it, and I like almost said it, and then I clicked through, and sure enough, it did not. It was an engagement farm, but the breaking news will get you sometimes during the show, Cap. But
last Cold Open, Joey, going right to you next. This is my attempt to do a good deed. This is directed at yourself and anyone else who has four-legged family members. You should start feeding get your dogs and pets off the processed food. Dogs are easy. Cats are a little harder, but costs about $50 a month, and your pets are eating like kings and queens. This was hot off the presses this morning. I'm going to drop my actual recipe and some add-ins later for Brad's getting a new pup. So that was my recommendation: is feed the pups good. Joey, GM, what brought you up this morning?
GM guys, yeah, I will double tap on feed your pups good food, and they will live a lot longer, healthier, better life than that processed hard kibble you buy at the grocery store.
Is there data on this? Is there data on this? I know that we're talking, but Joey, real quick, are we talking about like, can somebody provide me data? Because I'd be curious to see the data, because I love my dogs, but like, and so like,
the high level data is, if you just look at the lifespans of dogs since processed food has become a thing, it's declined significantly. Dogs lived much longer before everyone was feeding them processed food, so could be unrelated, but it just that correlation alone. I'll get the actual stats, but like, look at golden retrievers' lifespan over the last few decades, since everyone is basically, it went from processed food was not a thing to where it's the norm, and lifespans have been almost cut in half.
That's what I want to see.
And
like, because I'm
part
curious.
Part of the thesis with the hard kibble. Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the only reason I ask is because I don't know, like, I know a lady who has like she's a legit dog lady. She serves her like she has multiple Labradors and she serves them one of the like it's a good hard kibble, but like a good hard kibble she recommended to us that we feed to our dogs, and her dogs live 13, 14. Like they're like well, like so that's why I asked because I'm like,
I mean, everything's on a scale, right? There is good, like there's decent processed food. It's still processed. It still is not as good. And the thing is, once you get like the stuff it's not junk, you're like my dog, I'd be spending like 80 to $100 a month. So instead, I spend about $50 a month. He eats better. And my added cost is like a half hour a week to do his meal prep. But
yeah, I'm down for that because like we do. I mean, we have like the Vitamix, we have the Magic Bullet. I actually got a juicer recently that I'm in love with because it I'm actually have made a decision. We'll get out of cold open stuff and then we'll just go into actual stuff. But like I made a decision that switch flips in July. I'm still going to be drinking a little bit because summer is my drinking season, but like just cooling off on a lot of other stuff. The exercise, the diet, Dawn and I are going accountable just because we haven't been able to be consistent. So July through 8 Fest will be good, and then all the way through December. But Joey, go ahead and get in here. What do you want to hit on?
Well, yeah, real quick. So one of the thesis with the hard kibble is that it's better for their teeth, like it like plaque and all that stuff, because it's hard kibble versus like wet food gets all trapped in their mouth and whatever. But the thing is if you feed them like high quality food, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Like my friend has an older dog now, and once a week, he basically puts a giant pot in the oven. It's just rice and like a whole chicken and whatever else, and it just cooks for a few hours, and then he just serves them that for the week. And it's because it's high protein, good aminos, and all that stuff like that. His dog that's now 15 years old is acting like he's like 9 again, because of the better food. So I mean, it's almost the same thesis as human beings, right? Like if you eat processed junk food all the time versus eating clean food, how do you feel? So but again, there is very expensive kibble out there, which is like organic and blah 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 and all that stuff. So I wouldn't say all kibble is bad, but I came up because I had a question for Cap about Zed Run. Because you made a comment about how you used to be able to breed a horse and make $10,000 and whatever. So this is a general question about games as a whole, but more specifically to Cap about Zed Run. Would you play Zed Run if there wasn't a financial upside to playing Zed Run?
No, not if it was zero financial. Just because I like the reason I enjoy video games. The only real games I've played in the last 3 decades, I would play a little bit of Fortnite because I was like trying to get some hand-eye coordination back for Other Side. So I bought a new Xbox like in Christmas of 22, maybe 21. I don't know. Played a little bit of Fortnite, and I got the NCAA football last year, and I played that for I played a few seasons with the Buckeyes because I enjoyed it. I feel guilty every game I play because I'm not monetizing my time. I'm really weird like this. Like it's not a healthy thing to be thinking I can't just relax, but it's my brain is just I'm not relaxed if I'm doing something.
This is a real thing for productive people, Cap. Not to cut you off, like because like it's funny your reasoning. I thought you were gonna go that direction, and every time I take a break, so I've played probably a couple hundred games online of NCAA. I've gotten up to the Heisman level online, which is really tough, and that's where you face just the sharks. People are either really good at NCAA or they're really good at glitches when you get to that point. And every time I play, it's like 20 minutes, half hour. I feel guilty that I'm not doing something productive. Because like even hanging with my kids or taking my dog for a walk or working on something for Coffee with Captain or writing something or being on a call or working out, all of those things feel like they are working towards a greater good. And then I feel like when I play a video game, I know that I've been told literally by mental health specialists that you need to shut off sometimes, and it's a good thing to do. It just never feels good for me. So like Zed Run, to your point, even if
I know there's an opportunity, like I might lose money, like that is also an outcome, but just the possibility of making it a profitable use of my time, I don't feel guilty. Like if I lose, it's on me. It's a skill problem, not just, like I'd much rather take the risk and potentially lose money with the opportunity to make money as opposed to no financial outcome whatsoever.
Yeah, and there's also, and then we'll go back to Joey real quick, but like I'd say there's also games now that you can play. You could play Gigaverse. You could play Death.Fun. You could play games on Abstract and know that your XP on Abstract is going to go up next week because you played a game on Abstract. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm not saying that the games are like the best or people love,
but
like
to your point, there's the opportunity cost as well. That's the other thing. It's like, I think now, even more so than ever before, if I sit down and play a 30-minute game that's off chain, that's like in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'm missing out on some game that I didn't play today on app. Like
you could have filmed yourself playing Abstract. You could have filmed yourself playing Abstract on StreamYard, gotten Abstract XP, gotten streaming points, posted it online with Abstract, and gotten points towards the Kaido pre-TGE leaderboard, even if it doesn't get you anything for Abstract. And all of those things while you were playing a game of NCAA.
All right, who's for NCAA 27 and bringing it on chain? Who's
But I know, Joey, you want to get an underlying point, which I think I see where you're going, but I won't steal your thunder, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess, so my question is, and this is the debate that we've had about on-chain gaming multiple times, probably on this show and other spaces as well, and it always somehow comes back to, if the game's not enjoyable, then people won't play it. And then, Jonah's been up here before and said, like, I don't think that that's a factor, and I trust his judgment. But like, I guess, well, where I'm going at, which you might see, Steve, is like, if you had never made, like, if you go back 4 years and you had never made the money you made on Zed Run, like, and it was just you would have never played it, right? So I think the problem isn't that like the upside isn't there with Zed Run. I think the problem is that the game's just not sticky and fun to play, because even making $500 is more than what most people make. Like most people average what, 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour at their job, right? And if you play for a couple hours and you make 500, then you're doing much better than every other person out there. But I think what it comes down to is, it's not even, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't think it's the financial upside issue with a lot of these games in Web3. I just don't think any of them are fun enough to keep people coming back every single day, unless there's this monster financial upside. And it's crazy to say the $500 isn't a monster upside, but when in this space, when we're used to, $5, $10, $20, $50,000 wins on things, I don't know if that's sustainable for a video game to put out those kind of wins, which means, again, and this is a lifelong gamer. I started on the Commodore 64 and the Atari and ColecoVision, and people are going to say I'm wrong. But if it's not fun, I don't care how much money, right? Like $500, I agree with you. It's not worth it for me to spend a couple hours to make $500 if I'm not having fun. And maybe I'm wrong, but
so I don't fully agree.
Would you play it?
I don't fully agree on this point. I think there's a couple things to be said. One, I'd correct the point that Jonah made about, or I mean, correct the point you made about Jonah, where he talked about like games need to evoke emotion. They don't necessarily need to be fun. And he talked about the type of games specifically that do well on chain based on the target audience. And he talked about specifically like why they work and what they are. And then he built one that did work. So he kind of put his money where his mouth is. The thing that I would push back on, that I would gently push back on with you here, is that I think target audience matters. So I actually have, I mentioned today, I'm probably going to put out my first, I'm always terrified to do things alone or put myself out there. I'm putting out my first blog post today, which people may or may not read. It doesn't really matter to me. It's like, I actually very much enjoy the process of doing them. And it's a deep dive of the over-financialization of Web3. And one of the reasons NFTs haven't come to fruition to be used by the masses is it has to do with the over-financialization. And one of the examples I use is NBA Top Shot. Now, NBA Top Shot's a fantastic product on paper. NBA Top Shot is a product where you can collect moments like cards. They can gamify your fandom. Teams can identify their top people. They could run collector's challenges to get more rare moments. They could release, legendary moments. They could have, giveaways that send you to IRL events or sort of signed merchandise. But the target audience for that is NBA fans. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because when NFL All Day dropped a couple of years ago, my exact feedback, both publicly, privately, and everywhere I could talk to anybody who would listen, is what you should be doing with this product of NFL Day is you should be taking your product and going to the Bills tailgate with the official radio station and get them to sign up. And hey, one person who gets this Josh Allen moment, if you go here, you sign up like this, you're going to get sideline tickets. You're going to get the signed jersey from today's game. You're going to get a helmet. This is where NFL, because guess what? That person would have been collecting the Josh Allen moment to brag about the Josh Allen moment, or go to Cleveland with the Browns and Myles Garrett, or go to those Kansas City. Like, find those markets where somebody signs up with a mobile phone, where they just want to collect, where they spend a few dollars, and those few dollars are the barrier to entry in order to get entered into raffles and opportunities to win things. Part of the problem is our target audience is degenerate gamblers. And like, I think that, and I'm not saying that, I say that lovingly, I'm in this world, but like, I think Zed Run is a beautiful game. At least when I played it before it got too complicated. I liked breeding horses. I liked racing them on the track. My kids enjoyed it. My friends, when I explained it to my friends and family in the summer of 2021, and I waited an hour for the race, and I was sitting outside with my friends on my table, and I opened up my laptop, and I said, look at this race. I own that horse. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's not some in-game thing. I just won $10 on this. And if I want to sell that horse for $25, I can. And then if I breed one, it might make me more money. And my friend is in these tournaments. Yes, the financial aspect is there. I think part of the problem is the audience that you are selling to with a game like this. If you are specifically in the crypto space and you're acquiring all the technical and other things, people are here like me, like Cap, like yourself, who are like, I want to make the money. I think the game can be good. I think product market fit and target audience is one of the more ignored things for people who talk about consumer crypto as a whole. Like, it's just, like Zed Run, I said it like 3 years ago. Why are you not advertising to the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, all these other fans, and actually really trying to, in earnest, get them in there and doing Facebook advertising? I know it sounds crazy. Facebook advertising at the time, very effective, still kind of effective, to people who own horses, who might be interested in this sort of product, and explain to them, you can't own a stable that's going to race in the Kentucky Derby, but you can own one that's going to race in the Zed Stakes, and here's how to do it, and here's how to get started for just $25. Or, hey, if you're a whale who wants to get involved for $100, $1,000. Oh, by the way, do a deal. Mark Cuban was invested. Do a deal with the casinos in Vegas. Do a Zed Run tournament in one of their sports books when there isn't much going on and it's just horse racing. Like, there's so many approaches, but when the product market fit you're looking for is not meeting your current target demographic, I think we need to evaluate it. People spend money on Candy Crush to play it. It's addicting. It has these feedback loops that keep you playing it. But people spend $100 on Candy Crush a month, like some people, or more, because they enjoy playing the game, but the target market is found. The other thing that's obvious is I think the mobile aspect is something that you have to overcome. Obviously, the timing, the other aspects of loading times and things like that are getting better with layer 2s and side chains. But I think when you don't have the product market fit towards the correct audience, it's not going to. So I don't think that Zed Run is a bad game. I think Zed Run is a fun game. And all my friends get Zed Run and said they'd be interested in that sort of thing. At the time, they didn't want to bridge money to Polygon, wait 3 days if the Polygon bridge goes down, get that money, spend thousands of dollars on horses, get it racing. They just wanted to get started with a couple pushes of buttons. So find that market. And I get it's easier said than done. I'm not trying to preach because I'm not the one building it. And I'm not the one who has to go out and market and do these things. And I understand the difficulty of that. But target market matters. And so, we talk about Web3 gaming, right now, one of the reasons gambling games work is that a lot of people like to gamble. Cap just said it. He wants to invest his time doing something fun or farming something. It's a different type of world. It's a different type of casino. And I just think if you want, but do you even want that, right? Are you looking for the gambler audience because they have a lot of money to spend and they screw around in it? So I think there's a lot of complexities to it.
Not only do they have a lot of money, the casinos are apparently paying significant sums of money to KOLs and influencers. This is Jack will go to you next, but it is important to note, if you see someone winning on a casino type game and they're a KOL, it is highly probable that they are being paid not only to gamble with the casino's money, but do some research. The odds aren't often, like with Robit, often the KOLs were hitting at unmathematically possible clips. I'm not saying that's what's happening with luck.io, but FaZe Banks is being paid $500,000 a month to promote that. You'll see others that are going to win at insane clips playing, spin the wheel games it's probably not real. Don't burn your money away because you're seeing people talk about it and acting like they're winning a lot of money. They're being paid a lot of money. And if you're seeing them win on the screen, just know that, make sure it's provably fair. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Jack, go ahead and get in here, GM.
GM fellas, yeah, look, interesting conversation for cold open. I think for me, there was 2 points that you guys were discussing that I wanted to touch on. One was, Steve, when you were talking about like trying to get back into shape and health and nutrition and stuff, I literally just like randomly bumped into a founder of like a health tracker, like deep dive nutrition, blood works, like the real Peter Attia stuff. And they were just like, oh, you're a content creator. Do you want to just come and get all of that for free? I was like, you don't even know who my audience is or my socials, and you're just going to give me all the shit for free. Apparently they are. So I will keep you posted on that, but I'm about as unfit as I have ever been in my life. So that's going to be a really interesting experience.
Takes a real man to admit that. I'm proud of you, Jeff.
Dude, yeah, I am absolutely let myself go beyond any proportions that I can measure myself against. On the game side, I'm with you, Steve. I think realistically, people undervalue how much of the game is the financial, like the actual gameplay and the enjoyment factor just literally being the upside. Like if you can build an economy around your game that's like actually enjoyable to play, that is a game in itself. People will play that element and only that element. I think FIFA is like a really good example of this as well, because you will, at least when it used to be FIFA Ultimate Team, I think it's like EA Ultimate Team, whatever right now, but the new Rivals game made me think of this. And the thing about that game was they had like a marketplace. They had their own token. It was called like, I think it was like Ultimate Team Coin or some shit. And you actually created a secondary app so they could just look at the players within the football world, how much they were valued, and started gaming the economy where there were like specific stats that were just OP in games. So those players may not look valuable. So people without the knowledge would just sell them at a very low cost, and people would pick them up knowing the OP price and then would sell them on a secondary market. You had a whole other world of gamers who literally all they did was not actually ever touch the actual gameplay of playing the game. They just lived in the economy world. They tried to get more coins. They tried to buy the players. They just tried to stack and stack. And this was a game where you couldn't extract the coin. Like you could only buy other players within it. Like there was no way to actually monetize that unless you're doing some, like black market stuff, which I'm sure a couple of them were. But for the most part, like the app had like millions and millions of users, and it wasn't even like connected directly to the game. It was like a completely built separate app that people had just like found they enjoyed the economy. I just thought, yeah, I'm just with you on that. I think, look, if you can build a game purely where the economics are fun and like you can basically gamify your experience against other people, then yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, and to your point about that, like there's like, I mean, that's like the DraftKings Rainmakers theory where there's multiple ways to play the game. So I did a couple Rainmakers lineups. I wasn't good at it. I wasn't getting the game down as far as drafting it goes. But what I did do was I saw a bunch of guys who played on those standalone games. So for people who aren't as American football focused, there are games on Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, sometimes some games that are over in England that are standalone games. And they have what's called showdown matchups, meaning it's the only game on the slate. And you need those players to get there. So I got a bunch of guys who I saw had upcoming showdown slates in the coming weeks. And then when those showdown slates came up, I sold them because like people were interested in getting those player cards for Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday night, the early game in England or Germany or wherever. So like to your point, Jack, there's multiple ways to play the game in that sense. And that's called creating an in-game economy, which I think is really smart when you have that financial aspect where you can take things on and off the platform. And it's, again, there is a world where these things are going to have product market fit beyond our corner of the internet. Again, my daughter, she plays Roblox and she's like a shark at how she acquires things, the trade she does, like the fact that she's like, hey, this goes to like, basically this will go to like, I bought it for this much. I expect it to go to this much. If it hits this much or starts going down, I know I should sell at that point. Like she does this thing and other kids do the same. And so there are collectors, there are buyers, there are traders, there are people who try to flip up to get to grails. Like it happens in Roblox and other games. So I think it's going to come to fruition eventually. But yeah, I mean, part of the problem is the market you're going after. Are you going after the market right now? Fine. Blast did that effectively for a period of time. It fizzled, it burned hot and fast. That was the end of it. A lot of brands do that sort of thing. Again, I've used Pixel Vault as an example before, where it was like Pixel Vault had this really cool, innovative idea, and then it was like burn, stake, buy, super DAO, join this DAO, and it was like, oh, you're following what the audience right here, right now wants to do. Got it. Or somebody who just followed what Bored Ape Yacht Club did last. Like, okay, cool, but like, whether you're like, it's okay if you're building for the audiences that's here and that's your goal. Like, that's totally fine. There's an audience here that you can, totally make a product for, but you can't say you're building for the future also. And, make Joey's point about like, is it a fun game people play? If you create a game or a product for people outside of the space with the best thesis ever, but you build it in the crypto space and that's your first target audience, it's not going to do as well. You need to really be thoughtful about how you're doing that and what your expectations you're setting are. So, Joey, saw your hand go back up again. Go ahead and get in here.
Yeah, the product market fit and like you're identifying your avatars and consumers and is an important conversation. And you're 100% right on that. But at the end of the day, and at some point, if people stop playing your game, then the rewards will run out, right? So if the game is a financialized game, you need people playing it in order to have sponsors, have ads, right? Generating transactions to be able to reward the people playing the game. So again, and I'm glad Jonah came up. I'm sure he was listening, or we just said gaming 3 times and he appeared. And again, I'm not an expert in financialized gaming. I'm a gamer, so this is just my opinion as a gamer. That like there are a lot of games that I've played that I spent a lot of money on. Like Warzone is a great example. I don't even want to go back and look at how much money I've probably spent on Warzone. Buying the newest skins and weapons and whatever. I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to look at how many mobile games I've played over the years that I was like, this is amazing. And over the course of 60 days, how much money I spent, power-ups and whatever, and now they're not even on my phone anymore, right? But the reason why I spent that money and played those games is because I was having fun. So I still go, and it just as a gamer, like you're gonna run maybe your seed round, your initial sale, your ICO, whatever, brings in a ton of money to reward people initially. But if they don't stay, the financial aspect becomes irrelevant. And again, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not in this business and Jonah can speak to it. I still keep going back to the fact that they have to be fun and people have to want to play them. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and well, the other thing is like, and I say this over time, like ad infinitum, but I mean it. When you create something in Web3, a game in particular, like people are like, "Oh, is it the best Web3 game?" It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to a degree if the audience you're specifically targeting is crypto, but like you're competing with other Web3 games, you're competing with real games, you're competing with my time with my kids, all the things Cap and I just talked about. He has the choice to walk his dog or play a half-hour game of, or mess around on Zed for a half hour.
What I do, and this is true story, what I do is I walk my dog, and while I'm walking my dog, I do a best ball draft that takes me 20, 30 minutes. So I'm doing something I enjoy that's a game to me, something that I potentially could make money, and I'm also multitasking and being productive, something I would do already. Like that's my ideal. So like bring that sort of, I honestly, you just unpacked it for me, Steve. I think that is a big drop, big disconnect, a big opportunity for on-chain gaming, for Web3 gaming is we need it on mobile, right? Like shout out to FIFA Rivals and them launching in, App Store and Android. Like that is a game changer for me because I walk my dog a lot, and doing something, whether I'm walking my dog or sitting in the sauna, like I don't want to sit down on my couch. That's where I feel like I'm there's real opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Mobile is massive, right? Like you can't just build something that's desktop and expect it to be everywhere when everybody's on mobile.
Yeah, period. Like I mean, it's just point blank period. If you are not on mobile, like unless you are using a sort of, unless you are using like a game like like a certain console games, or if you're a hardcore gamer, but generally speaking, half the world gets up. The mobile
even console games are mobile. There's mobile Warzone.
Yeah.
So like it's not even just console anymore because all these console games are going mobile.
But the point is, like, if you're playing like, GTA, like you're likely playing it on your, like when the new GTA comes out, people are going to be ripping it up on their Xboxes, their PCs, their PlayStations, etc. My point being, like, you could have a Nintendo Switch, you could have other games where the distribution method is, if I want to play the new Mario Party with my family, which, we got my son for his birthday and we played the other day, like, we're going to play it on Switch. Switch is a distribution method. Mario and Nintendo is a major property. Like, it has its own, sort of like, it works there. I think the opportunity on mobile is obviously huge for everything. Like, by the way, like, that's also like the issue that, like, that's one of the reasons why, like, why do you think Stripe is so interested in Privy as a wallet? It's because Privy allows you, like, the most underrated part of Privy as a product is that you can use it on mobile. Like, people talk about the single social sign-on, absolutely, but other products do that. And, you can create wallets in various ways using email addresses. Like, mobile is how most people use Coinbase. Mobile is how most people use, like, all of the products that you see. And so, like, you have to be able to be on the 6-inch screen that people carry around in their pocket at all times if you want to be relevant. And so I do think that that's part of it. Like, I'm not going to play Skyrim on when they re-release. I can't remember if they're re-releasing Skyrim or Oblivion. I hope they're re-releasing Oblivion, actually. I think that's what it is, because Oblivion was like one of my favorite.
It's Oblivion.
God, I fucking love Oblivion. Like, I'm not going to play it on mobile. Like, maybe you can, it's fine, but like, I'm going to play it on my Xbox. I'm going to get immersed, and I'm not going to feel like I'm wasting my time, because that's, God, an all-time fave of mine back in the day. Got me through some hard times, but yeah, mobile's important. Jack, go ahead and get in here.
I was just going to say, on the gaming front, like, you guys do spaces a lot, right? Like, do you ever try and just, I'm playing Fortnite right now. And honestly, when somebody, like, you will know when I've actually come across someone, because I can't do both. Like, I'm a sucky okay, right now I am about to get killed. And, like, you guys are definitely going to see that I just can't string a fucking sentence together when that's the case. But that being said, like, is that not something you guys think about?
What? I don't track.
I can do it
playing video games whilst you're on spaces, like streaming and just getting that video game time in whilst you're doing what you're doing right now.
I couldn't do it hosting. I just have there's just too many chats and stuff to manage. I could do it listening, but like, so again, back to the opportunity cost. If I'm listening to a space, I'd rather jump on a Peloton and ride for 20, 30 minutes as opposed to so much.
Jack just also described Sam Bankman-Fried playing League of Legends while he was on with like investors and important people is the move. I am a big, and this is gonna, like, this isn't this doesn't sound like I'm like kind of, Jack's gonna be like, damn, it's not a come at you think, it's a how I approach it. My favorite book is Miracle of Mindfulness by Thich Nhat Hanh. Outside of my own book, it is the book I've gifted the most to other people. Big fan of it. Weird coincidental full circle moment, actually. My agent for my book, that happened to be a family friend of someone we know, was Thich Nhat Hanh's agent who helped him with all his book deals. It was crazy full circle moment when my book came out. But for me, there's this part of the book where they talk about, like, the most important person in front of you, the most important person in the world is the person in front of you right there, right then. And so when I was in meetings, I try to be present. When I'm on this show, I try to be present. When I am on a call with my mom, I try to be present. When I'm on a call with my brother, I try to be present. Like, all those things where it's like, and there's a whole anecdote. They have different, like, parables about it in the book. But, like, to me, like, part of that, like, you obviously have to multitask a little when you're hosting. You have to keep an eye on the chats and other things. But I try not to be, like, playing a game while I'm hosting or while I'm doing things. So at least for me, it doesn't work super well, because I know that I'm at least a 50% better version of myself if I am locked in and paying attention to everybody and not just sort of zoning out and missing points or other things like that. I'm not perfect. It doesn't always happen, but that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. Like, I think on a show like this, where it's like loose and you're having a conversation and you're a guest speaker, I think that's different. But yeah, if I never host a show and play games. I just can't do the two things. I'm going to lose track of the conversation. And if you're the one actually moving that conversation forward, which obviously is your guys' job, not mine, fortunately, like, yeah, you just can't do it. But maybe when you're on other shows and it is a little bit more relaxed, that's when you can get your gaming time in. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a thing where it's like I'm hosting a show. It's like, what kind of an asshole would I be if like I'm hosting a show and you take your time to come up and talk, or someone else comes up and they, a lot of people are, they don't feel great about coming up to spaces and they get nervous and they come up to stage and there's hundreds of people listening and I'm playing a game, and then when they finish, I just say, okay, thanks. So it's great. I think like that part of it, I think is really important. So it's just, I don't know, but I saw Joey's hand fly up, and then maybe we got to get into stablecoin stuff here. I know we're closing on the 9 o'clock hour, but Joey, go ahead and get in here.
I just wanted to apologize for that whole situation with the children and accidentally unmuting myself. That's it.
Oh, I didn't hear anything. I don't think we heard anything.
All good.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe I accidentally unmuted myself during that situation when my children were going crazy.
No, we're all good. Let's do this, Cap. I'm gonna do More by ENS. And pop that in there just to talk a little transition us over into stable coins, and then maybe we could do daily market update in the next 20 to a half hour.
The more you know, brought to you by ENS.
It's time for the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. And if you missed it yesterday, the U.S. Senate passed the Genius Act, short for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins. Man, they love their acronyms almost like a kindergarten class sometimes, I swear. This is a major bipartisan step to regulate stablecoins at a federal level for the first time. It passed 68-30 with support from both parties. The Genius Act requires all stablecoins to be backed one-to-one by liquid assets like dollars or treasuries. Probably keyword there, treasuries for the U.S. It also enforces monthly public reserve disclosures, strong anti-money laundering requirements, and bans on foreign or non-bank issuers operating without U.S. oversight. So again, U.S. first act there. One notable clause: lawmakers and government officials can't hold more than $5,000 in stablecoins, aiming to avoid conflicts of interest. Interesting part of the act. The bill is designed to protect consumers, provide regulatory clarity, and support innovation in the U.S. crypto space. It now moves to the House, where a companion bill is already under review. If approved, it could become law before the August Congress recess. Stay tuned. This could be a turning point for U.S. crypto policy. And that is ENS, the more you know, not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring it across the internet. It's your identity, simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domains to secure your ENS domain today. Cap, a couple of points of this.
Steve, doesn't it go to the House first and then the Senate? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, but the way that it tends to go is like it'll go to one, then there's edits, and they pass the next one, then it goes back and forth to pass. So a lot of times, like a bill passes through the House, the Senate makes amendments to it, and then it goes back through.
What are we expecting?
So,
what's the pulse? Are you expecting it to?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll get passed?
I don't know when. I mean, they're guessing. It depends. Congress is slow, but I think before August is realistic. A realistic opportunity.
We need your brother up here giving us the inside scoop.
Oh, he covers way deeper stuff that he wouldn't be covering stablecoin acts. Actually, his wife would, Wall Street Journal reporter, but he would be covering. He's the one who gets members of administrations to retire because they have scandals that people didn't know about. Which it's fun when you have like actual like congressional people threatening you. It's very interesting. But no, I think like a couple notable points here, Cap. Back one-to-one with liquid assets like dollars or treasuries, good for U.S. treasuries. Reserve disclosures, anti-money laundering requirements. Foreign or non-bank operators have to have U.S. oversight, so it's going to be really careful to make sure it does that well. And so U.S. first, and trying to make sure that congressional people don't have a conflict of interest. Curious your thoughts on any of that. Like, I think it's good, right?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I thought it was all good. My only concern, and maybe it's not a concern, but there was some language where, like, it's not going to be permissionless. Like, if you're going to be a stablecoin issuer, you have to comply, which regulation isn't a bad thing. But is there a slippery slope where it's maybe not quite as far as CBDCs, but a world where the Besant just came out and said it's going to be a $3.7 trillion industry. Could this lead to a world where the only people who can create stable coins, it's Tether and Circle, who they've already made it, and then the big banks, and basically eliminate the option of any other, new startups getting in that space or brands launching their own stable coins. Like, I didn't read all the details in terms of what that looks like, but the restrictions to who could do this, could that become an issue?
Yeah, I mean, it does become a little bit guarded, right? Like you're basically saying, like, the mafia boss theory.
I was going back and forth with Easy yesterday. He was like, where do we go to, like, I think it was commenting on like JP Morgan dropping their thing. I was like, this is what disruption looks like. I don't think there was ever a scenario where the banks were just going to, lay down and lose market share without like taking a swing at it. And they're going to do this they almost have to. Their hands are being forced now to where they want to keep some of those fees they're generating. And I guess, like, so my answer was like, I think it's up to all of us to educate the masses. Then I think it will accelerate onboarding. More people will be using crypto, and then it's up to us to educate them on their options. But could this lead to a world where it becomes a lot harder to live in a decentralized world, to actually even pull your stable coins off a central exchange? Like, do you have any concern like that at all? Or is this all positive if it goes forward?
I mean, sure, it could go. You have to like play out both sides. Like, you obviously have like on the extreme end, you have sort of the mafia boss theory. This is why a lot of people didn't love the tariffs. Because, when the tariffs first came out, the whole, like, one of the things people said about tariffs, and they were just like, this is from the side that was more bearish towards tariffs on Trump, and there's the bullish side. Like, I'm not trying to give a political take on here. This is what this side, some of this argument would say. In fact, you can see Sam Harris, intellectual, like, really deep thinker, honestly doesn't fit into any sort of box, which is why I kind of like his content. I disagree. Sometimes it makes me mad. Sometimes I agree vehemently. But he had this point about tariffs being one of the almost like, hey, like, you put in tariffs and suddenly businesses can curry favor with the government to say, hey, we'll be cool here if you let us get a little around this tariff here. And that was like something that happens. And that was one of the concerns of them. Certainly with a stablecoin act like this, you're looking at the same sort of thing. I think is kind of the far implications of the downside, which is we decide who's in. Oh, by the way, it's the one that our people are invested in. They don't hold $5,000 in stablecoin, but they own $5 million in the stock, or they own $5 million in, in equity before pre-IPO. And so that's the concern. I think the flip side and the upshoot of that is like, look, like, having crypto adopted to the masses is going to have some sort of government intervention. CBDCs would mean that the government can just yank your money. Yoip, you got $5,000. It's on a public ledger. Yoip, they got it from you. It's seized. And like, that is a more dangerous, world that we see in sort of the dystopian movies. This you still own. It's still your stuff. It's just, it's not like it's seizable through, we go to your bank, we press a button, and it's ours now. So I think it's like a better option. And I think it has to happen. Like, to me, like, the fact that they're trying to push it, and also, like, frankly, the U.S. clauses, I like. Like, I like the fact that they are trying to push U.S. forward tech. I like the fact that they're not saying, the whole focus on manufacturing in America, great, but like, we can't do it cheaper. We can't do it better. And like, if somebody makes a really good cellular phone, we shouldn't try to make the same cellular phone at 7 to 8 times the cost, 10 times the cost, and say, hey, do you like your, $700 iPhone? Well, you're going to love the same iPhone for $7,000 from the United States manufacturing facilities. And I'm not trying to make a political commentary on, anything. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing some levels of manufacturing. It's just, I like that we're pushing tech, and I like that we're pushing tech in the US. And I think that AI, I think tech, I think that blockchain, I think these are the industries that are going to matter in the future. And it's how the US tends to stay ahead of the curve. And if we're just sitting on the sidelines and not doing this stuff, we're going to let others run laps around us and say, hey, super friendly environment. If you want to run your stable coins here in Dubai, why bother doing it in the US? And so to me, that's the positive nature of this outcome. And I think them having it backed by US treasuries is good for US treasuries. So I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good thing. Joey, saw your hand fly up. Go ahead and get in here.
So do we, like, if it's going to be backed by, this is like Web2 finance now, but if all this is going to be backed by U.S. treasuries, do we see a boom in the treasury market, like on that side? Since you really can't invest in stables, right? Because they're $1 is $1. Like, what does this do from an investment perspective for people in this country?
So I don't have the data to support it, but I did hear, I don't even remember where I heard or saw this. Maybe you caught it too, Steve. But I did hear that right now the largest buyers of treasuries are Circle and Tether. So yes, that if that's accurate, then your thesis.
But to Joey's point, it's like, are you going to play the treasury market, or are you going to play the stablecoin market and just get yield on stablecoins and have that as spendable money versus buying U.S. treasuries and saying, okay, we have an extra step. I think that's the, like, with the stables, you're getting. It's like, we talk about this before, but it's like DraftKings runs a stablecoin on its platform. We're not going to get in the brand coin discussion. Don't worry, guys. But like, DraftKings runs a stablecoin on its platform, and you're earning 4% yield, 3% yield, 5% yield on this. DraftKings is earning more money on the back end and basically becoming a bank and, getting rid of that and doing things with that money. You're happy to be earning the money, so you're more likely to hold more money on DraftKings, and you spend it on DraftKings. That is a ideal solution. Like, that is an example of, like, sort of putting these things together versus just buying U.S. treasuries and being like, well, treasuries are in great shape and they're going to be better and worth more. It's like, it can be a yes and situation, but I think the majority of people aren't going to look for exposure to U.S. treasuries through this. It's going to be an opportunity to get exposure to stable coins, which help you out. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the U.S. overall. Go, Joe.
I was going to say, so like, I just did a quick, search. So the average yield on a 10-year T-bond is 4.5%. So it's not much different than what you get on stables. The only difference is you can't touch those for 10 years, where your stables you can touch anytime you want. So I guess what you have to look at one is more of like if you were gonna bet on treasuries, it'd probably be because of this, it's probably something you're betting on for your children and your grandchildren, because they're not going to have to touch them for 10, 20, 30 years. But if you're a little older, maybe it's something where you, like you're saying, you go all in on stables, because that's something you have more liquidity with, where T-bonds you don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, look, when you buy treasuries, like we have a bunch of, what's it called? The bonds that, like, I don't know why I'm blanking on it, that like your grandparents used to give for you on paper, that like we can't even figure out how to sell, and the bank needs certain information and all those things now that they've matured and all these things. It's like, I'm like buying a stable coin and getting yield because they do other things with that money besides just U.S. Treasury. They just have to be backed. So keep in mind, you're talking about backing them with U.S. Treasuries, backing them with dollars, backing them with hard assets versus how they use the money like a bank and share more of it with you. It's honestly, like, to some degree, like, it's oversimplifying it. It democratizes what your bank does. That 0.02% you get from your bank by just having your money in a savings account, instead, they're sharing the wealth a little bit more with you and being just fine doing it. Like, I think it's just more options. So, yeah, I mean, I would rather have my money in stables than buying treasuries. But, treasuries, I get why people hold them and why they're a stable asset and why they make sense. And you're always having an executional risk with stable coins, right? Like, that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, I think that's the general feeling. And again, like let's not, like, I try to explain to people who are like, well, I just pay with my credit card or whatever. It's like, the fact that I can do something, earn yield on it, when I pay you money, the money is instantly in your wallet, or your money is instantly in my wallet, and there's no intermediary, there's no holding company, there's no what if you get paid, what if you don't. It's just a slick, you can do it anywhere in the world, it's instantaneous. Like, again, like, this is like a very bougie example. We went to this all-inclusive resort in the Dominican Republic with my family last year. I want to tip the people. I don't carry around cash in my bathing suit while I'm swimming on the beach. I don't want to leave things out that are, like, not safe on the shore or whatever. It's like, so, like, I don't know. What do you do? It's like, well, if you have stable coins on your phone and it's locked and it's secured, tap my phone, tip them $1, like, goes there. Doesn't have to worry about, like, oh, well, like, credit card processing fee, international this, international. It's just, it's quick, it's easy, it makes sense. So, just a strictly better method for moving money around, a good opportunity to earn yield, positive movement in the US for tech. I don't know. You can't beat it. So I feel really good about that. So yeah, Cap, thoughts on that or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all good. I'm like cautiously optimistic that things move through, and it doesn't become a discussion around Trump's family, right? Like I just I listened to these hearings before it even went to vote, and it was concerning, and so glad to see it passed. And yeah, I will be following along. But yeah, nothing really else to add.
Awesome. You want to run a daily market update, or you want to hit another topic?
Yeah, we can do it.
The daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on chain, we bringing the heat. NFTs, feds alpha, never miss a beat. Chain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, figures now what's next. Come on, my head top, but you want the time and chop off for one time.
It is time for the daily market update powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs. ApeChain has it all, bringing fun, culture, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why ApeChain is on top. Cap.
Yes, we're gonna start. We'll start with our favorite tokens today, and then we'll wrap up with NFTs. But as we head over to the Coinbase 50 here, Bitcoin down 1% to 104,757. ETH down 2%, but just retook 2,500 up to 2,508 after losing 2,500. I'm going to pause here, derail a little bit from the daily market update. It hit me this morning. I was thinking, like, what happened to ETH? Like, this cycle, it had ran up to like $3,600. Am I crazy, or did that not happen? And then it crashed back down. It's just like, what
3,600? That doesn't. I mean, let's go to the chart.
If it ran at 3,600, I would have dumped my aloe already.
Yeah,
I'm going to pull up a chart here. We'll come back to it. But it broke 3K.
I got you, Cap. I got you. I pulled up the chart already. 6 months ago, ETH was at 3,800.
Yeah. Yep.
December 18th, 2024, it was at 3,800.
Yep. I vividly remember. Like, I thought.
Wait, we were at 3,800 like 7 months ago?
Yep.
Exactly on December 18th, 2024, the 6 month chart, ETH was at 3,800.
That feels fake. Like, that feels.
It does feel fake. Like, I don't even understand. Like, it'd be one thing if it was still 37, 30. I just don't understand what caused that massive sell-off. Because now I remember, like, everything crashed, but then obviously Bitcoin rebounded back over 100K, and it just ETH just, like, I don't know, that, like, whatever happened then, like, because I thought okay, here we go, and I can't. I'm gonna have to go back and put. It
was over 3,500 even in January.
It just hit me this morning. Like, I got thinking, like, what is the disconnect? Why did ETH break as far as the rest of the crypto market? And it was this cycle. So, like, I don't know. I need to go back and put some more thought to it, do some more research. But it hit me this morning.
That's like blowing my mind. Like, I'm actually like,
what happened is L2s actually worked, and they were like, oh shit, we didn't realize that would lower the value of ETH mainnet.
Maybe that's it. Is the scaling?
April it went all the way down to 1,500. That was like the low, or 1,400. That was the low.
Didn't the foundation sell a bunch as well? Isn't that always what the foundation does? Yeah,
the foundation sold, and also the very thing, like the entire vision of the last 5 years of Ethereum was this almost federated network of L2s that could build on top of the whatever they call it, the internet computer, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what EVM is, right? The virtual machine. It's like communism. It sounds really great on paper, and then they had it happen, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this was not the right path." Because you've got Abstract, you've got ApeChain, you've got Base, you've got how many chains do we have, right? And so the more effective an L2 is, the less likely you are to use an L1. I haven't, other than sending money to like staff, I haven't used the L1 for any DeFi or any purpose, not to mint NFTs or anything. Like I have exclusively used mainly Base and Abstract and Avalanche. I haven't touched ETH 01 since last year.
It's funny you say that. I think I'll have to go check, but I think like the last half dozen or so like sponsor payments to us all came on an L2. Like the most recent was Arbitrum. It's faster, it's cheaper. Like it's just like that's where it's not just for like mini NFTs. Like people are transacting on these L2s now. It's like their primary.
Yeah, it's way easier. Most of the time when I'm paying my editors and stuff, I pay them in base USD, base USDC, or I pay them in AVAX, or I pay them in ARB USDC. I pay them in anything but ETH L1.
Anyway, I wasn't trying to fund ETH. Like it's actually being bought now. Like there is a bull case for it. If you look at the institutional demand, it just hit me this morning. Like, what the hell happened? Like I can't. There's a lot of things I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand here, but I just can't comprehend how it went from 3,800 to 2,500 in the last 6 months, while the market is like, it's not been like ripping like up only, but it's just
ETH Foundation sold a lot.
Yeah, it seems like they're not even doing that now. Like I don't know. Anyways, back to the market update here. XRP down 3%, $2.14. Sol down 3% as well to 145. Doge down 2% to 1683. In Cardano down 3%. Hyperliquid down 4%. Let me double check it right. 4% on the day. It is coming in at 38.13. For those sidelined, I'm probably going to move a little bit over to Hyperliquid today. I keep talking about the same thing I was just talking about Bull Run. There's some things I've looked at, talked about too long that I need to just make the move. So that's on my tick list today. Runes all are bloody. Rest in peace to the Rune Wars. On the meme front, also a down day. SPX down 5%, leading the bleeding. Actually, Fartcoin down 6% to 107. Trump down 3%. Pepe down 4%, Shiba down 1%, and Doge down 2%. And if we head up to NFT land, we had Larva Lads, and I don't even think there's a active. Is there OpenSea Voyage is back?
Yeah, you're talking about the Larva Lads with 2 V's, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an OpenSea Voyage for sure. That is looking to OpenSea Voyages are back. You could buy yourself some Pangu and get yourself a lad and then immediately sell it at the same price or higher. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I know like you're not a fan and you say this, but like, and we won't get into the debate like again this morning all crazy unless we have to, but it's like, the fact that you can buy an NFT in one of those trending collections, wait 10 minutes, list it again, make like a couple of bucks and get your voyage claim. Like whether people like it or not, it's an opportunity that exists in the market right now that I think a lot of people aren't taking advantage of. That takes a couple of minutes each day, but that's a whole other conversation. I know you're not a fan. I enjoy doing it. Similar to how we talk about like yesterday, Spencer said blur farming was his favorite game. You talk about your favorite games being some of the financial ones. This is a game I like playing, but anyway, keep going, Captain.
Yeah. Seeing the 19,000 sales, it hurts. Like it actually pains me to see that.
Like you should drop a collection on base that fits. Honestly, like if somebody wants to make money on royalties, I'm not saying I'm going to do this. Dropping a collection on base, 8chain, or one of the L2s that people can use for farming purposes. Like there's probably like little bits of money you can make there just dropping something kind of interesting, funny, or cute that is low cost, because these things usually are $5 to $10. So like it's actually giving an advantage to the people in the $5 to $10 range. So, good for them. The larva lads with 2 V's that look like the other larva lads, they are cute. It's just they're a copy of a copy. But anyway, keep going. I know it hurts you.
Gristle Buddies. This is the one we called out yesterday from Die with the Most Likes. It's showing down 30%, 32% on the day, but this was minted yesterday for 0.069. So pretty good cook. Easily a 10x. I think I don't know what it peaked at, but even still up significantly from mint, 6x or so from mint. So I'm not in that world, as I said yesterday, but love to see art collectors collecting and artists still doing well. It's not going to show up on here, but there was also a Tyler Hobbs mint yesterday, more expensive mint. It minted there was 2 options. There was a digital only, which minted for 5 ETH, or you could go digital and physical for 8 ETH. It's actually trading under mint price now, 4 ETH or so, 4 point something. But some pretty big art sales yesterday from a new collection standpoint. Pudgy's up 1% on the day to 8.99. Mutants down 3% on the day to 1.87. No idea what Zulini is. I'm guessing it's another farm because it's on base and it's cheap. Down 70% of the day. Azuki down 2% to 2.09. Good Vibes Club bleeding out a little bit, down 6% a day on the day again to 0.58 after. Did they break 1 ETH? They give it a run for sure. Did they
I believe they broke 1 ETH briefly, and that's when they flipped Doodles, and then Doodles held strong, and they dropped down.
And Punk's holding steady at 44 ETH. That's our daily market update today. I don't know. I think that's all of them yet. Shape it's on Shape. I don't know. Not familiar. It's saying down, but I'm guessing it was a free mint or something that cooked post mint. But that's our daily market update brought to you by ApeChain. ApeChain on top. I'm actually going to go check in on the GM collection. Ghost Machine still running 4.67 ape, down 20% of the day, but still seeing a lot of volume over almost 6,000 ape traded in the last 24 hours over there. So congrats again to Betty and Psych and the Deadfellas team.
Yeah, honestly, I got to pick one of those up. I missed it, and I find those. It's just something, I don't know what it is, and people say this because, it's a sponsor or whatever. I don't know what it is about ApeChain NFTs. I just find myself having more fun buying them. I can't explain it. I go on, I play around the collections. Maybe it's because I know the person. Maybe it's, I don't know, but it's fun. I enjoy it more so than some of the other ones. Like with layer 2s, there's not as much, of an issue there. By the way, on the ETH thing, you mentioned ETH being, but I am flabbergasted when you mentioned the ETH price in December. Flabbergasted. I think maybe we didn't notice it or talk about it now that I think about it, because that's when Solana was at its peak. It's when Pengu dropped and all those other things that were really just hot in the streets in Solana. I'm completely flabbergasted though when I think about that.
And I do feel it's important. it is starting to feel bullish again. I agree. There's positive indicators. There's good underlying fundamentals. I don't know why it hit me this morning. It just was a thought, went through my brain. I'm like, what the hell happened? Because I had this vividly stuck in my brain that it ran up that high. And I can't, I'm really struggling to reconcile why it fell off so sharply. But anyways, I think that's the thing that throws me off is call me crazy. Maybe I'm just insane on this one.
I think I have this, this is probably me just being an idiot and people laugh at me. I have a thesis that at some point, and I'm not stacking accordingly, so I'm not doing a good job with this. I have a thesis that at some point, we're going to see a run on ETH at some point. It's gonna do the Bitcoin thing where there's a run on ETH and we're man, shocker. ETH at 5,000. How did this happen? And I know people say I'm crazy and I'm a boomer and whatever.
It was the chart. It was $4,000 on December 17th. It hit $4,002 is where it closed on December 17th.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see this ripper, and it's going to be the way Bitcoin is holding 100K out of nowhere. Bitcoin suddenly ripped up and started holding 100K, and everyone's like, "What's going on here?" I think in that same vein, there is a good chance we see ETH do something like that. And we should have seen it coming all along. What were we doing? I don't know. I could see a world where ETH gets super valuable, super quick, and we didn't see it coming because they talk about the world supercomputer, digital oil. Name your sort of analogy for it. And smart contracts are important and things built on top of it. And as it scales, get in now. You're looking at it as a sort of almost like a getting beforehand on a growth stock. I just think that there is a big opportunity. So I don't know, man. I think people think it has to do. I know B Epic's talking about some NFTs in the chat. A lot of people are like, "Hey, the price of ETH was driven by NFTs." ETH NFTs weren't ripping in December. Solana meme coins were, and ETH ran up. So, ETH might have run up in December leading up to the Trump's inauguration, maybe because they were thinking about crypto in the US, perhaps. So I don't know. I could see a big, I don't know. I have this, it's not based on anything other than the fact that I think the ETH thesis is interesting. And I think people say well, what does that do for the ETH price with layer 2s and everything? It doesn't matter. Solana has no reason to go up in price constantly. It does. It doesn't logically make sense because Solana is inflationary and doesn't have mechanics that make it go. It does. And so I think that there are there is something to be said about that related to ETH and the network and what it's going to power. And I think layer 2s eventually will be ubiquitous enough, built on ETH, the best one to build layer 2s on. So we shall see. But Jack, go ahead and get in here, then we'll go back to Joey.
Yeah, I do put a lot of blame on the foundation for this. Like, if you know that they are just sat on a stack of this stuff, and anytime there is a big rip, they're just going to cut it off before it can like actually hit momentum point. I do think that's an issue. Like, I do think they've really mismanaged how they should have operated. And this idea that they need these funds to operate as a foundation, it also just really runs thin when you look at actually their execution. I think the other thing to all of this, though, is it's a time. It's not an if. Like, this is going to happen. To me, it reminds me a little bit about streaming services like Netflix and stuff, where for a long time, you're just talking about how these guys aren't making money. Uber isn't making money. Netflix, SaaS-operated businesses aren't making money. And then they get the market share and they get enough people using them. And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, we're actually going to increase the fees. And there's nothing you can do about it at this point because you are desperate for our content. Oh, we're actually not going to make it available for all of the different household users to continue to use on one subscription. And there is not a thing you are going to do about it. You are desperate for that content right now. I think Ethereum are playing that playbook a little bit as well. Like, we keep talking about the issue and the difficulties and honestly, just the bad practice of all these L2s being able to operate on them. But at a certain point in time, if all the best L2s are on Ethereum and then they switch tactics and they go, actually, you know what, we're going to need something from these L2s at this point, or actually, you know what, there's going to be a functional basically cost to being able to stay here. I think there's going to be a moment in time where they just flip a switch and we will have absolutely nothing to do with it. But they're playing the acquisition model right now. They're just acquiring all the users within Ethereum on L2s, etc. And then at a certain point in time, they're going to flip the switch. I don't know how they're going to do that. And I am a little bit naive to the like actual crypto monetary ways they're going to do this. But I think that's just inevitably what they're thinking of right now. And I don't think they're concerned with the L2s, eating some of their lunch, because on long term, it is still built on Ethereum.
I don't know. Like, I think there's a little bit of a nuance there where it's like those businesses you mentioned that weren't make money could have made money. Like Amazon didn't make money, but they choose not to make money because they're in growth mode, and the investors realize that, and then all of a sudden they flip it on. I think ETH's a little different in the sense that if they made it harder or more expensive to use the chain, then people would use another chain. But I just think that at some point, the world is more likely to be built on Ethereum than anything else. And I maybe that's just me like oversimplifying, like my sort of like left brain take on this thing, or not left brain, left curve take on this thing is that the world is going to be using Ethereum more than anything else. The president's family is heavily invested in Ethereum still. The country is trying to move crypto forward. L2s are being built in America, and that's going to be how people do things on chain. And maybe I'm just like completely left-braining this, but I think it's that simple to me on the Ethereum. And by the way, the largest institutions in the world, the BlackRocks of the world, the Fidelities of the world, they all have ETFs that bear this Ethereum name. It's the only other one that has been approved so far at this point. I know people say, excuse me, I know people say Sol's coming, but I don't know, Jack, feel free to respond to that.
Yeah, honestly, soft disagree. I think any business that you referenced there, they couldn't have charged more money. Like they needed to really get themselves into a position, let's use Netflix, for example, where they had enough original content that people would just need to keep on using that service, or they needed just enough users of the service. In the earlier days, there was a bunch of different competition vectors. Like you had Prime Video came out of the blue, Disney started chopping it up, and I think that prolonged why they were cheaper. And now they've realized actually there is room for more than one streaming service in most households, and they've realized that like you see the same shows now pop up on multiple different services, and they just don't seem to care. And I think that's the same thing that's happening right now. I think it's like a really comparative, like, look, they are just going for market share and user share, and eventually people, the developers that are building on this as well, like it is a different code stack. Like, if you want to just move to Sol, it's not that simple. Maybe AI infrastructure does like help a little bit, but I doubt it. So yeah, I think it's really, really similar. Even Amazon Prime more broadly, and like how they kept it so cheap and they still continue to do, so that competitors just can't compete because of the scale of the thing. I do think there will be a moment that they just completely dominate, and I just think that might be a long time. Like, I think that might just be like the same amount of time that we were talking about Uber and Netflix, just being like, how much longer can hedge funds keep propping this company up that isn't making money whilst they try and just get more users? Like, is there ever going to be a moment? And we're now seeing that moment for most of these companies, but this is a decade or so in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same here.
Yeah, but the reason why it's not comparable is those companies like Amazon, as an example, they could have made money and shown that they were making money, but they're investing back. I think the difference being these are two separate models. Like, one is an infrastructure model where they're running a fee system based on people on their network. Now, again, that may change to your point. I don't know. I'm actually not as technical on that side. I'd get someone like Brett on here to say that side of it. But the difference being, like, Netflix was investing in growth because people were excited about Netflix, and they were investing in more content and more original sort of content on their platform to get people, keep people there, to your point. But they could have said, okay, we're moving this money into this bucket and we're starting a treasury, and like, they could have flipped the switch the way Amazon basically flipped a switch one day and said, we're going to make money. And everyone said, oh my God, now they're making money. I don't think Ethereum has the same sort of trajectory there where they could flip a switch that way, where it's like, it's not like Ethereum is making money hand over fist and immediately pouring that money back into the product in order to continue to grow the network. They are a completely different business model. And that's why I think it's like two completely separate things, where one of them is we're making enough money where, as a traditional business, if we just wanted to be a traditional stock, a traditional business, then we would just stop investing in growing our audience and we would just stop here and show that we're making money. Like, I don't think Ethereum's quite in that same place. So I don't know. Like, maybe you're right. I just, and somebody could tell me if I'm off base on that, but I just think it's a little apples to oranges in the comp. But I do think at some point the world just realizes we're using this thing, and I think they're a narrative story as much as anything. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's quite the same, but I get your point. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think for me, just that with all of this and saying they could have just turned on the switch, I don't think that's true. I think they could have turned on the switch and cut their growth and the valuation of the business overall. But in terms of like actually reaching the targets of where they wanted to reach, they couldn't have done that. As soon as that the cost didn't make sense to users where there was a comparable alternative, which in both of those instances there were, like they would have stopped the growth and they wouldn't have been able to obtain what they had told shareholders they were going to obtain, what they had expected in terms of valuation of the business. So I think with Ethereum, I definitely succeed to the fact that maybe it's even more abstract than it is for Amazon Prime or for these Netflix services or even Uber. But I think at the end of the day, it is like an acquisition and user game that they are playing. And I think it's a similar one. It's like, it's more similar at least to the point where there really isn't that switch. And look at the foundation. They're just selling Ethereum. Like, they do have those stores, so they can sell. And unfortunately, that's actually hurting momentum and price right now. But I think, yeah, it's a little bit more similar, but yeah, maybe not quite the comparable for everybody to put those two dots completely together.
Yeah, I guess if they like bought their own supply, that would be one thing. But I guess to your point, like, yes, it's they have to continue to grow, but like, and they had laid out that vision, but the point is they were making enough money to be a stable company. I don't know. I'll think on this one and see if I think it's a little bit of a different model, but I see the point you're kind of overall making. I just don't know if Ethereum's investing in growing their ecosystem right now in that way, and that money could be spent elsewhere or not. Like, that's something I probably need to do more diving on. Like, if they are diving in on getting people to put things on ETH who otherwise wouldn't have, and that's where they're spending their money in business development, and they're trying to get people to use a network, and then suddenly they'll be like, surprise, motherfuckers, we're here. Like, that would make sense. I don't know if that's the case, so I'd have to dig more on that. But I love a good analogy, so I'm going to dig in on it. And if I change my mind, I will certainly let you know, because, it's one I probably need to do more research on. Joey Valls, go ahead and get in here.
So I'll be quick because I just got to the gym. It's not on the ETH subject, but when Cap was going through like the market, and I heard Azuki at 2.2 ETH. And I know that, post anime, we knew all these collection, post anime coin, post dude, post Pengu, right? Like we're going to see all these collections drop. Do we think Azuki's ever gonna, like, what is it going to take for Azuki to come back? I feel like, when's the last time it was 2.2 ETH? Like post mint?
I mean, my simple answer is anime chain being a massive success. Yeah, their series being a massive success. If I don't know what they're planning to do with anime chain, but that would be my answer is what catalysts they have coming.
But how does, I guess, and maybe I need to do more research, but how do Azukis fit into anime chain if anime coin is what is powering anime chain and anime coin has already been distributed, right? So unless it's a situation where they roll out an XP model like Abstract, where you get like a multiplier for holding an Azuki and then an the anime coin drop, how does Azuki, why would Azuki price?
I don't know if Joey's rugging or I'm
Good question.
rugging.
Oh, really?
Am I rugging?
How are we now?
Good now.
No, you guys are all sounding fine on my end, and Joey, his whole take I could hear.
Okay, for some reason, Joey you got really.
Yeah, I hear everybody perfectly fine.
So you got really grainy on my screen cap. So I don't know if it's on your. I know you've been talking internet issues. I've been talking internet issues. Who knows? But you got grainy on my end, and we're like grainy on the Abstract feed for me, and not on my screen. And then Joey started rugging around the time you got grainy, but we are all back now. Go ahead, Cap. I'll let you respond to it. Sorry about the technical interruption.
I mean, I don't know the answer. I don't know what they're planning to do, but I would imagine just as we see now that pudgy penguins and littles have some benefits, some multipliers on Abstract, I would expect they'll probably do something on anime chain as well for Azukis and beans and elementals. I don't know. I don't know what they're building. So I know they've done a few. I think their second or third animated show, but other than that, I don't know what. Like, I just don't know what I'm not close enough to even know what the plans for anime chain are.
Yeah,
I think that's. I think that's part of it too. Is I don't know if they've released much information. I don't know what it is, right? Like you're getting a multiplier right now with bigs and littles on your XP because we all believe that XP is going to connect to when Abstract's token drops. But if anime coin, right, anime chains already dropped their token, what would XP or what would a multiplier do for you if the token's already been dropped? So I'm just kind of confused as to like, is this it for Azukis from a price perspective? Because they've already, again, unless of course, like their shorts become, I guess, if their movies and their shorts become like wildly successful and start winning awards and get billions of views, maybe people will want to own Azuki NFTs. But and this is not I'm not fudding them or anything. I'm genuinely curious. Like, have we seen, are the days of 5 ETH and 10 ETH Azukis gone because there's nothing left from a financial perspective? Really? Is it just collecting at this point? And if you're just collecting, this is what they're worth as a collector?
It's, again, this is a funny one because this talks to the fact that apes have, I think, to me, like, apes don't have another airdrop coming as far as we know.
They do.
Allegedly, right? But like,
it's confirmed. Like, no one's talking about it. It's been confirmed. Apes, mutants, codas, they're getting another airdrop. We don't know what it is. We believe it's going to be on Ape Chain, but they're getting another airdrop. It's absolute. Garga confirmed it. Like, in so many words, he's confirmed it. It's going to happen. I would be shocked if it doesn't happen at this point. It's just, it's not priced in yet.
Let me rephrase that then. Apes, we think connecting dots are getting another airdrop. It seems like it's something that people are saying. The only reason I say this is like because it's not like outwardly like, hey, this token is coming. My point being, we know that an abstract token is coming in the next 6 months, or at least that's Lucas said Q4 he's looking at. We know that Pudgies get a multiplier. We know they're going to get a distro. We know Little's get a multiplier. We know they're going to get a distro. They're holding that up pretty well. We knew Doodles were getting an airdrop. They were
We
holding
don't
up.
know that though, Steve. Just for any of the audience, I thought the team have been very, very like aggressive at anyone who says for a fact we know there is a connection between Pudgy ownership and an abstract drop. I think they're like aggressively against that stance, and they've never announced it.
Where have you seen them?
I've
Okay, so
personally-
I will look back and see if I can find it. Maybe I'm like Mandela affecting this. I'm almost positive that Luca has said that Penguins are going to eat at TGE. Like, I'm almost positive he said maybe that exact quote on a couple of different interviews. So
I remember something similar as well.
yeah. So maybe that's a speculative point, and maybe the team has said otherwise. But like, I'm almost positive Luca said that Penguins are going to eat in TGE. We're going to take care of them. We always do, something like that, right? So I guess my point being, like, we know that they're holding something up, at least to that degree. Apes, we think an airdrop is coming. We don't know what it's going to be worth. It's certainly not going to be like another ApeCoin airdrop, but people are holding apes. And I think that there's something powerful to be said about what apes are, holding up. And I think Azuki, you learn a lot about them post-anime drop when they sort of sunk like a rock and haven't picked up since. I sold all my Azuki assets at a loss. Part of that is a tax loss harvesting strategy because I'm expecting more airdrops and I want to make sure I'm staying relatively neutral. But I sold my elemental. I sold my bean. I've sold all my beans. I claimed my airdrop. I think it was a net neutral, maybe a little bit of a gain on the anime airdrop when I got it. But and I like Azuki. I think it's cool art. But like, you need people people need to want to own a Veblen good. People need to want to own a Michael Jordan rookie card for a Michael Jordan rookie card to be worth money. It's worth money because people want to own it. There's a buy side and a sell side. Like, I'm not saying that the Azuki is not a great community. I'm not saying Zagamon is doing a good job. I'm not saying anything like that. You just have to think, like, why do you want to be part of that community? What is the personality of the community and why? And they're building this whole anime, like, fandom thing or whatever, but I personally can't keep up with the community. I know that they have updates. I know that they have, behind the beans and all that good stuff. But I think we're starting to see people want to own a CryptoPunk because they want to own a CryptoPunk and the price goes up. People want to own an ape because they want to own an ape and the price goes up. I don't know what gets Azuki back to where it was, because I don't know if the market has to decide that people want to own Azukis and not just rare ones that whales are passing around. I don't know. Jack, go ahead and get back in here. Okay,
we did get Odeka gave us some. I'm going to pin it up top. We got a good breakdown of what they like, the latest updates. Really good thread there. Appreciate you sharing, Odeka. And then also, you might have hit this, but Mesh mentioned they brought on a legendary anime creator about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, and again, maybe my kids weren't a fan of the anime, by the way, when they put it out there. So that's also a thing that's out there. And so the anime has to be good, but like, yeah, they have to deliver on some things and make people really, really want to own it. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think that there is a, I don't know. Like, I'm never good at guessing what's going to make a price go up in value on any given NFT. And like, they could execute, what's the old adage in NFTs? The most bearish thing is delivering on utility. So there might be great, alpha here, but like, a lot of people are financially motivated by this stuff. Again, one of the reasons why apes, punks, and penguins are impressive. Penguins do have something coming up. Penguins do tend to pump on financial opportunities, though. Pengu drop stuff like that. But yeah, man, I don't know. And Mesh in the chat saying, yeah, the episodes they dropped earlier this year weren't good. So I don't know what gets Azuki to run up again. And I think like it's probably normal and healthy for us only to have a small handful of NFTs that are very, very strong in value. Like, that's probably normal and correct until membership clubs are on chain and they're not looked at as NFTs or looked at as just a membership club for like the Soho House or something. So yeah, I'm not sure, man. I think Clemente posted about the other day. Apes are $7,000 more than penguins. Penguins have an airdrop coming and get a multiplier in abstract. Apes are apes. They get to play an other side game and mess around. Like, it's just a thing. And also, like, don't like the apes that have like no, doesn't like Yuga have like no apes in their treasury? So it's not like the apes are sitting there on, we have tons of apes in our treasury, like like we have a strategic like ownership of these assets. Like, they own more punks than apes, I think.
Oh, by a large margin. because I don't think they sold the apes in the punks deal. I think they maybe a few, but I'm pretty sure they held most of their punks in the treasury. This I pulled this up for those listening and don't have the screen. This is what I was referencing. A deck I just shared. So a lot of updates, mostly around like some anime expos, licensing expos, IP. Core feature going live soon on anime.com. I'm going to be interested to see what their plans are with anime.com. Powerful domain. I've got a bold take, and we don't have to dive into it now because it's not thought out. But just seeing this, I wonder. Okay, so if let's say the brand coin thesis plays out, I wonder if Azuki would have been a better ticker than anime for the coin. Whereas it's not a brand coin. Anime is a category. Anime is an industry by itself. I'm not sure. Like, sure, the diehard Azuki fans, they know that's the Azuki coin, but is that making sense? I haven't even had this thought before, but is from a coin standpoint, it's like you could say Pingu's a brand coin, you could say Rex a brand coin. Anime is not really a brand coin. What is it?
I do think it's
utility coin.
I think it's a better. I don't know what it is yet. It's probably an ecosystem coin, but I'd have to dig in on it to know like what it's used for. Right now, it's a meme coin because it's not used for anything. But I think eventually it becomes an ecosystem coin, maybe a gaming token alongside that. I don't know. I actually think anime is a great name for. I think it's the right name for the coin, to be honest, because it's such a like widespread, important thing worldwide. I just don't know. Again, I don't know what it means for the brand itself as far as like I don't know. Like I just to ask like what could get Azuki to come back is a tremendous question I don't have an answer to. And I just know that certain NFTs and NFT communities have certain value that have bounced and have continued to hold up, and Azuki doesn't seem to be one of them right now, and I just don't know what it gets to do. What does that outside of some financial mechanics where you have to toe the line of like making it, and it's still worth a ton of money. Like we act like it's not worth whatever it is at 2 ETH. I mean, we act like it's $6,000 for a JPEG is like low, but it is down from where it was. So I don't know. Like, let me ask you this, Cap: if you had to buy, what are Azuki's at right now? Was it? Did Joey say it was 2 ETH? Okay. Let me look at one com. So if you had to buy like 3 Moonbirds and 3 Mythics or 1 Azuki, which would you buy right now? You have to buy one. 3 Moonbirds, 3 Mythics, or 1 Azuki.
The 3 Moonbirds and 3 Mythics.
It's a no-brainer, I feel like. Am I crazy? Like, right? Like Spencer just took over. He's building against there, right? It's like you have like that sort of thing. Like if you wanted to build, if you could buy 3 good vibe clubs or 1 Azuki. It's like you're probably 4 good vibes clubs. You're probably taking the 4 good vibes club. So it's just like when you start doing it that way and thinking of like where are you spending your money, you have to truly want to own it. You have to truly want to be part of it. And I don't know, man. Like I think that there is a I don't know. I think that it is a whole different. Like when you start thinking about where you're putting your money in this space and you're looking at JPEGs with all these, like you could put that same money in Hyperliquid or on Kaido for airdrops. Like it's just, there's so many options now. So you have to give someone a compelling reason to want to buy. And I think one of the things we've lost a lot of plot with in this space is identity and community. Like, how are you reinforcing identity? How are you pushing the community? I think a lot of people stopped caring about that and they started playing a little bit more in the, building the business utility space, which you should be building a business. But like at the end of the day, someone needs to feel guilty about selling your thing because they love it, or feel bad about selling your thing because they love it. I didn't have major issues selling. I had a little bit of issue selling my elemental, my beans. I kind of let fly. So I don't know. It's a conundrum for sure. Go ahead, Cap.
I've got one other like kind of flyover. Not like we could not even hit it and it's fine, but
can I also come in at a certain point?
Yeah,
I think the hand raise is bugging.
Oh yeah, please do. I did not see it. Go ahead, get in here.
No, just for me on all of this, I think one thing that's really interesting to me is the idea that an ICO is no longer meaning you can't run an IPO. And Rect, obviously, Cap, you brought this up the other day, but there's an actual stake, right? Like holders just randomly got dropped an idea. What was it? It was essentially a stake in the business's success, right? It was like some sort of like share or
shares in the LLC. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that to me is potentially the only thing left for Azuki to do is like if they are going to IPO one day, then maybe that's a reason there could potentially be more upside for Azuki. But I'm probably with Joey for the most part that these things are operating more as a high-end collectible at this point. The TCG, which is their like card decks, which look absolutely fantastic. They look really, really cool, at least from an anime fan. And you got to understand, like, all my perspective is wrapped around being like a hardcore anime fan. And for me, that's really cool. That the only way you could get those decks, and they're like limited edition. There's not gonna they're gonna produce this game, and it will be like an actual card game that is going to be released. And the idea is to get mass adoption to that, but there will never be that first edition collection again, and they were only available to Azuki holders, and Azuki holders minted out the whole collection of those things as well. So I think they have definitely like this idea of like additional collectibles with value that might be higher in the future, or even today. Like you can buy those card decks on like OTC for double what they cost to mint. So there's already upside on that side. But for the most part, yeah, I'm with the consensus, which is that they may be more broadly connected to the collectible side now. But Zagabond has always been ahead of the curve with this. So I think if there is a new way to monetize, like you see, they've just entered Telegram, Bored Apes have as well, like the stickers, etc. I think there will be opportunities, but they are more directly correlated with NFT success in that like digital collectibles category, as opposed to just like another TGE on top of another TGE. The point towards Bored Apes as well that was made around like why, apes are just apes at this point. I do think they have almost a punks effect at this moment in time. Like I do think they have enough historical relevance and context that when people think NFTs outside of the space, I actually probably, and this is going to be a really hot take, but I think more people think Bored Ape than they do CryptoPunk. I think if you had a consensus across the globe of just general public and ask them NFTs, do you know any brand? And then you named punks and you named Bored Apes, I think more people would understand or go, oh, I remember the apes, as opposed to remember the punks. And I think that is definitely a value and why they might have more upside than a Pudgy Penguin right now. And that also I want to tie into Azuki. It's the first anime project that has that standing as well. So with anime absolutely crushing it at the moment, I think if they do succeed with anime.com and anime token, which I do think is the best name for a token when you think about what they're building, I do think there is upside to it, but I think for the most part, there isn't the direct tie of another TGE that's going to be around the corner for these guys in the same way. It's more like, can they actually set themselves up as, if anime does need to go more in a digital collectible world, which it definitely does, can they be the face of that? And that answer is still undetermined. And I think that's why there isn't like a definitive, like these should be more valuable than where they're at right now, which to me feels for a collectible with still a big gamble to play, still like quite a fair price.
I mean, yeah, like you're kind of saying with Azuki, I mean, I agree with all that. And I think that part of it is that TGE issue of needing that to like drive price in this space sometimes. But I think even from a price standpoint, if you're talking about like $6,000 for something, you're basically saying like rare Magic cards that people buy that they care about with millions upon millions of fans. That is the minimum entry price for an Azuki right now. Right. And like, that's kind of the thing that I'm curious to hear the take from like some of the founders, and a good question for Luca and other people is like, I look at Luca, it is $24,000 for a penguin right now. And I don't remember what Lils are, like probably like $4,000 or something. $4,000. What gets a person to go from gifts, children's books, and toys to saying, like, how do you think about that funnel? Because I think that that's an interesting thing. And by the way, a funnel where you get infinitely more benefit if you're Azuki, if people use Anime Chain and people are building on Anime Chain and people are buying things on Anime Chain, if you start releasing things on there, than you do from someone buying and selling an Azuki, especially in a royalty-free world for some of this. So I think like that funnel is very interesting. And I think how people approach that is interesting. And I think like you talk about like the pricing, it's like funny because we'll be like, man, Azukis are underpriced at 2 ETH. I can't believe this. And then someone's like, I'm sorry, what do I get for that $6,000? Well, you get an Azuki. Well, what do you get with the Azuki? Well, you get an Azuki. You're in the community. You might get a chance to buy $1 million golden skateboard. Like I think people have a hard time wrapping their heads around that sort of thing. And it's not just Azuki. They all have it. It's one of the reasons Bored Apes is impressive. It's like, I just have an access pass to a cool club and something I like to own that I have a sense of identity with. I have a community. I have friends on the internet. I have things that come through that. I don't know. Like it's a weird conversation to have when you start thinking these NFT communities and like how many of them can sustain versus consolidation into sort of these top ones. And again, all the more impressive to me that apes are not TGE right now, yet they have that. Jack, go ahead and get back in here, and then Cap will probably wind down from there. I did have a couple other topics too. Maybe we'll hit them, and I don't know. I can go a little long if we need to.
Yeah, I think the big pushback from me in terms of like the card collectible, and I brought this on myself by saying like it basically is a collectible at this point, is that, you know, if you had a Magic the Gathering card or a Pokemon card or another card that people will be familiar with on the show, and ownership of that card guaranteed you first access to any other collectible card. So not money, no drops, no financial incentive, but just first come, first serve on any new product that was ever launched with that brand and IP. I think that would sell at an incredible premium to the current cards. Magic Gathering, the cards as well, like can sell for millions. Like, so, you know, there's definitely a lot less of them that do that. But when you add all of those things together and the ones that sell for thousands and you put that together, I do think there's a little bit more of an argument there on the first come, first serve basis. They are also hitting the biggest anime event in LA in a couple of days. And the only other people who are there are literally the biggest anime IPs on the planet, like Demon Slayer, if you're familiar, like basically One Piece, like all of the big people are there to play, and so are Azuki. So I do think, just like Bored Apes is an access to a club, Azuki are access to an anime club where you also have that driver of like, I'm just into anime, and now I have a place to be like, look, I just sort of want to bet on the future of anime. I want to bet on the future that anime broadly is going to get bigger and more valuable, and the collectibles connected to just that industry are definitely going to see an uptick. And obviously that is happening right now. It's probably at its peak it's ever been. So I do think that nuance is like really important, and to be able to attend some of the events as one of those holders as well. I think again, it's a much longer term play, but I do think it's a little bit more nuanced than saying compare it to a collectible card, because, you know, we know NFTs are like significantly more than that.
Yeah, I know. It's a programmable software, and they're fishing in the right ponds. The case they have to make is that if they build Anime Chain and it's successful, like Cap said, what makes them go up? If they build successful Anime Chain and you say, hey, we're a staple in the Anime Chain world, the way that like you said, Demon Slayer, One Piece, you know, Pokemon is an anime, Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia. If they say, hey, we're a staple here, everybody knows us, everybody likes us. One, they make a good anime, and that's good. Like, that's an important part of it, I think. But even within that, if like, hey, this is a staple thing you want to own if you're an anime fan, and if you're a rich anime fan, you want to own this. I think right now the challenge with them is there are people who own Azuki who aren't into anime that I know, who are just like, hey, I own these because I think it's a good asset to own, and there's, you know, airdrops and other things. And I think it goes back to my NBA Top Shot issue earlier that I brought up like way at the beginning of the show, which is the pond that they were fishing in was gamblers and, you know, crypto people and not basketball fans. Nobody knew who Lou Dort was when they were collecting Lou Dort moments. They just heard someone say Lou Dort moments might be good to collect, and they did. And I think similarly speaking, you know, I got like an RJ Barrett Cool Cats moment when it dropped in those, you know, that pack, and it was like I paid like, I don't know, $25 for a pack or whatever it was, and I sold it instantly for $100. I didn't care about RJ Barrett. I cared about the money. And I think with Azuki, like, if they lean into the anime aspect and their community truly rallies around that, which they could, I'm not saying they don't, I'm not saying they don't try to, but if the community rallies around it, they create hey, this is the best place to make friends online in anime, and we're going to discuss this, and this is going to be the thing, you're going to earn badges, and we're going to create a whole platform, we're going to, like, they could build a whole anime tokenized system that's going to turn off a lot of their current holders, but some of them will like it. Then I think that they have an argument to be had there that we're part of the story of anime. If you can't tell the story of the future of anime without Azuki, they'll be worth something. If they are able to be a forgotten piece in that story, then they won't be worth a lot of things. And I think that's what it is. They have to bank on, you can't tell the story of anime and the next generation of anime fandom without Azuki. Be worth something. So I think those are the tricks and sort of the keys to it, because, like, again, market matters. And I agree with the premise of what you're saying, Jack, based on anime and where they're going. But like the same way that I'm not an anime guy, my kids are, so I've gotten a little bit into it. But like, I'm not running out to get, or I'll use the Magic card example again. I know it's a dynamic software. Like, pretend Magic cards are on chain. I'm not running out to buy the $1 million, Magic the Gathering card, the $5,000. I don't go out to get collectibles I don't care about. I do it with my kids where I collect certain cards on places like BZ that they care about. But like, I don't run out to be like, I must get the first edition Charizard. I didn't grow up watching Pokemon. I don't know Pokemon very well. I called him Pokemon until about 4 years ago. So like, I'm not going out to buy those things. My, people who are Pokemon fans are. So if they do really niche that audience and you can't tell the story of the future of anime and on-chain loyalty in anime without Azuki, they'll be worth something. So I agree. It's like they're fishing in the right ponds, but are they doing all the things, or are they trying to play the middle a little bit? I think that's what we have to see. Cap, I know you had one other item as well. Maybe save this one for tomorrow. I do want to give you one thing for tomorrow potentially to talk about. Conversation around whether founders should be charging for things or not.
That's where I was gonna go.
Was it?
Yeah, and it's
hit me with the overview and your opinion on it.
I don't know if he actually meant what he said or it was an engagement farm. It's just fucking ridiculous. Like, how entitled are you that you're going to call a founder who's building something and they're charging for it? Like,
well, tell people what happened. Give him the rundown on it.
Nifty is launching an app. If you hold a bunch of Bodogos, it's free. If you hold a Bodogo, you get a discount that makes it $5. And
a month, yeah.
Lucifer lost his, like, basically called him out, said it was, you can see it here. It's like charging your holders for $5 for an application you built. Love the Bodogos team, but this ain't it.
His exact quote was, "Imagine raising millions of dollars in Sol, making more than 99% creators."
Yeah, I just don't even know how to properly respond. Like, I honestly thought at first he was just doing it as an engagement farm, and if so, it worked because you got the timeline talking about it. But it's just like, use some fucking common sense. How do you expect the world to, how are they going to sustain if not bring in some revenue? And just because they have a media arm and can generate sponsor dollars doesn't mean they shouldn't charge for products they're building. If you don't want to use the product, don't buy it. But to take shots at founders for charging for a product they built is if you're going to, because it's not an NFT, because it's not just a digital JPEG. Doodles charged $75 for digital stickers yesterday. $75. This is $5. It was one of the worst takes I've seen. So bad. I started the comment and I was like, I'm not even giving the guy my time. I don't have anything against Lucifer. It was a horrendous take. And people who think like that, you need to get off your high horse. You need to stop acting entitled, and you don't have to buy it, but businesses have to generate revenue. Hard stop. Otherwise, they're not going to be here.
Yeah, regardless if you like the product or not. Like, to me, it's like, it's an Alpha Alerts product. They're trying to show people sort of some different places that
they specifically said it's not for degens like you. If you're here, if you're on Twitter 24/7, this product's not for you. This is for the casual user. Like, it's fine to not like the product. It's fine not to buy it, but to take a shot at founders who show up every single day for selling a product they've spent time, energy, and resources to build, like, you're broken, man. Like, that's just, I don't, yeah.
Yeah,
we can go deeper tomorrow if you want. I probably have more thoughts, but it was just horrendous take.
Yeah, maybe we will go to Jack in a second. We kick it into tomorrow, because I do think, or maybe not. Like,
Cap had a good response to it this morning as well. I saw a lot of founders coming to support, and so that was like, okay, that actually made me feel a little better. Like I didn't see I don't know if there was like an actual ratio or not, but I didn't see anyone like agreeing for the most part. At least people I respect in the timeline, most were like, this is just a horrible take. Like, what do you expect founders to do? Like, you can't sell something for $100 one time and deliver utility in perpetuity. It just, the math doesn't math. It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, they're basically saying we're curating a feed based on things that we think are important or things that we want to do in the market. You can opt into certain things, opt out of other things. But this is the type of thing that it's like, if I was working,
dude, I would have paid for this in 2021, 2022. Like this, I was asking for this type of product back then. Now I don't, like, I'm just not, I don't need it. But yeah, there is a demand for this. There's a use for this for certain individuals, especially those that are like have a full-time job and they want to, you know, like, honestly, had this product existed in December 2021, we may not be here, because we started Coffee with Captain to basically get this service that they're charging $5 a month for. You all can join us for free.
Yeah. I mean, we like, this is the type of thing where it's like, when I'm leading internal communications at a Fortune 500 during COVID, and we're trying to communicate to people, and I'm spending 12 hours a day trying to make sure that we are handling all of our business. Yeah, it's useful.
Odeka nails it. Yet they will spend $2,000 on something they will flip. They don't profit on it, so it sucks. That's it. There's a lot of people here who, it's just kind of like, it's in a way, it's similar to myself, not wanting to play games that I can't make money on or lose money on. It's like the gambler's dilemma. And they think anything that has no potential for return, oh, that's a grift, that's extractive. Or no, maybe it's actually a real product and they're building a real business with real revenue to hopefully sustain and be a going concern a decade from now. So it's like, yeah, I think it's this gambler's mentality that, like, if I'm spending money, there has to be a potential profit. Otherwise it's an extractive grift. And that's just not accurate.
Yeah, if you are terminally online, you don't need this, right? Like, when me being full-time in Web3, I still could potentially use this, but generally speaking, probably not. But they're very upfront about that. I think what they're trying to do is build this sort of bridge gap app that is maybe for the people who say, oh my God, I can't keep up with everything that's going on and I want to have, a full scope of understanding, versus, the people who are terminally online, or the people who are maybe out of the space that maybe are interested, or people who are casually interested in the space, or people who are participatory but have jobs. Like, this could be an app for them. Is it successful? Is it not? I don't know. Like, is it worth it if they're curating it? I don't know. I can't say for certain whether the curation is going to be good or not. I haven't used it. But yeah, I think expecting free utility on every single thing, we've talked about this with founders before. They can't be indebted to you for the rest of their life because you bought a JPEG from someone else for more than they sold it for. And then they have to meet that price that you paid for it, that they didn't charge you. And maybe they made a royalty on it. Maybe they didn't. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think it's a 2021, 2022 mentality when people would say, I spent $100,000 on this JPEG. Why isn't this free or that free? And it's not, it doesn't really track with me. You want to recap the response?
Quick ones here. This is Cab. Bodoggos did not raise millions, and they're running a business, a $100 to $200 subscription that pays for itself on airdrops events and can be resold, does not entitle to free everything forever. $5 when most people piss away thousands on random memes is like nothing. For builders that have shown up every day is more than fair. The relationship is two-way. You nurture your community and it nurtures you back. And then I also got one from Pawns here who, called it the founder's dilemma. And I feel for these guys, man. I respect what they're doing. It's a grind and it's not easy. They've got a very successful media business. I'm just guessing. I've not asked them. I wonder if they could do it over again, if they would do the Bodoggos mint, because it's this. Riggs was the first to put this idea of utility debt in my brain, right? Pawns here says the founder's paradox: do well, get higher floor price. Higher floor price, new holders. New holders equals zero to very little revenue, depending on your contract. All holders expect free utility. Again, that utility debt, or they want you to sell on someone else and give them profits from that business. Tough model.
Lucifer did actually said, I made a statement an hour ago about the Bodoggos new app. I apologize for the criticism before deep diving into what it is and how it works. I consider Easy and the rest of the team vital parts of the ecosystem, and we should let them have their chance to try something.
That's it. And great. Nick says, honestly, just trying to build stuff. There'll be a bunch of stuff coming out, including unrelated Bodoggos stuff. You ship and you pivot until you find product market fit. Maybe this thing doesn't exist in a year. Maybe they build a subscriber base where they've got 10 to 20 grand a month coming in and it helps them maintain their operation. Awesome. You should be happy if you're a Bodoggos community member. I'm glad he backed down, because I just can't I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Nick and the like of Matt. You ship something, you've been working on it, and then that's what you get met with. It's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, it's wild. Jack, go ahead and get in here. Give us your thought on this, Mr. Bodoggo PFP, and then we'll let everyone get out of here.
Yeah, well, firstly, I own a ton of them, so I will just go and use this thing for free, and I can definitely feedback my findings on a show if anyone's interested.
What is the threshold to qualify as a whale? How many do you need?
I think 10. And I have way more than 10. But let's not go there. Or the fact that Steve once told me to sell them at 18 sol.
I assume that's why you stopped coming on the show for a while, to be honest, because Steve told you to sell the top. He called it. And you didn't. And
that happened.
Screw you,
I said sell a bunch. You're like, oh, you didn't. So I'm like, Jack, just please do a favor for me.
Yeah.
Sell half of them, and then you're in great shape. And you're like,
actually,
no.
It might have been the first time I've heard Steve beg someone else to sell something.
Yeah,
I don't give financial advice, and I was like, I actually think
literally begging me, and I did not sell a single one. I have since sold a couple at the bottom, which still keeps me in whale category by a long shot. But yeah, this is, look, I am the exit liquidity of the space. Like, this is known. I feel like it would be against my brand to actually sell anything for a profit, and I'd feel dirty, people. You know, there's a comment in the Nifty where they were basically saying for Lewis Fair, like, you've made money on meme coins before. That came from someone else. You have to give that back, because that was the comparison and how stupid it was. Like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I don't want to take money from my friends in this space. Like, I'm doing a service by being that exit liquidity who only sells at a major loss. Like, someone probably had a steak dinner on me. Like, I'm okay with that. Definitely not cope. But anyway, coming back to the Bodoggo's point, I just think that realistically, bring royalties back. Like, why did we get rid of royalties to that extent? Like, enforce them, make them happen, and then you can basically look at those two things and make a decision. Like, is the product that good that it's worth more to you to just utilize the income from that product, or will you actually get more from just seeing the upside of the NFT through the royalties? You know, if it absolutely surges both the price and the volume of the NFT collection. I hate that we got rid of royalties. I think the space has been tremendously hit ever since. I think Blair and Pac-Man just suck to a whole extent that I'm going to cut myself off before I get myself cancelled. But my goodness, I think this is just another example of, yeah, you know what, pay for the product if you need to. But yeah, it would also be nice if these guys didn't have to charge for the product, and that actually releasing something dope would also give upside to the holders. Because I think this is the big issue, is that, yeah, look, this is good and they will monetize more, and no, they shouldn't be dependent on collectors or holders constantly wanting utility from them. But also, it is nice when someone has launched a collection that allows them runway and allows them to try new things and still give opportunity for them to succeed when the actual project succeeds. And I do hate that disconnect, and I do hate that realistically this product succeeding and being the best thing ever, there is just no tangible net positive for the holders in that respect. But I blame that on royalties. I don't think the Bodoggos have done anything wrong whatsoever.
I agree, and that's the only other thing I wanted to even fly over today, Steve. Odeka says we got rid of royalties because the power was in the hands of the traders and not the artists and projects. I agree, except I would counter that it wasn't rather it was the marketplaces. It was Blur and OpenSea. But on this point of royalties, I wholeheartedly agree. Garga nailed this or mentioned this yesterday in the interview with Gainsey. I don't think those are recorded. You might see some clips on the timeline, but I enjoyed the interview. I thought it was actually really good to hear Garga in a non-home crowd type environment, some random wild questions. He answered everything. But when Gainsey asked, like, what do we need to get? It was the same answer, basically. Jack just summarized that, royalties did and can unlock really an entirely different business model. A lot of brands built their business model under that assumption, and then it went away. And then they had to do different things. Like they put a lot of brands in a tough spot, not just the ones that, the blue chips that you become aware of, it actually hurt, I'd say, probably the smaller ones the most, the ones that didn't raise or weren't in a position to raise, because then their sole revenue stream in some cases went away. It's like, okay, now we have to sell something to our community, or we're going to be out of business. And a lot of them did go out of business. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Royalties were one of the things that really attracted me to this space. And I don't, not trying to oversimplify things, but I do think that really is a major change. And without royalties that you can count on, these businesses, they have to make money. Otherwise, they're just not going to be here.
Yeah, no, I mean, imagine the royalties Bodoggos could make if, say, they went up to like 18 SOL and somebody with a bunch could sell them. You just never know what could happen there. Yeah, you're right. That was like the only time I'm like, Jack, this is financial advice. Please sell half your bag right now. I promise you. But no, I honestly, like, I think royalties were good. I think royalties needed to change in a different way. Like, I think royalties as a percentage was why things like Blur ended up existing. I think a title fee, I think paying royalties to get utility. I think there's a lot of options there. Like, title fee is one of my favorite. You could just have tiered title fees where, you pay $100 on every sale if it's a certain number, $200 on every sale. Not like I'm ducking a $20,000 royalty because Bored Apes have ripped up. I think title fees are one of the interesting ones where you have to transfer a title fee attached to the NFT. Like, that's one of my favorite royalty models that would actually make more sense. But yeah, royalties, ripping them away. It's what made it cool, is that when you explain to people, like, you can make money on your artwork in perpetuity and know who holds it and program utility against them. I would explain this to artists. Like, some guy told me how NFTs were scammy and stupid at Art Basel. And it was an artist, and I explained to him how it works. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, they tracked royalty option. They tracked on the knowing who your collectors are option. But I think there's probably still yet to come a more logical royalty fee, because I think percentage of sale is just way too general and worked really well for like Apes and some others back in the day when they got millions and millions of dollars pulled in. But I think like a title fee one may make more sense, where it's like, if you don't pay the royalty, you don't get the title fee, and you can call back the NFT at any time. Or, if you don't pay the royalty, you don't get utility, and then people who actually want to buy it have an aligned incentive. Like, stuff like that I think is interesting, but I don't know. We'll see. Jack, one last one, then we got to run.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, if you guys just want to wrap up, absolutely. I think you're dead right on the royalty side. That's all I wanted to contribute in terms of, like, it wasn't perfect. Like, people could be down tremendously on their bags and still have to, have a royalty fee connected to the sale of the thing they're down for. And that volume also sort of got incentivized, right? Like, if your collection wasn't doing anything, you could whip up a little bit more drama to get. I'm not saying that projects did this, I'm sure some did, but like, basically, the volume itself would earn a project a lot of money. For example, Azuki, when they had all of that drama and they nuked, they made a ton on the volume of that. And that isn't something a project should be able to profit over, is like, oh, let's leak some bad news about us and we can then get some money from that. And then also everyone selling at a loss has to sell at an even greater loss because of the volume. So yeah, you're dead right. It wasn't perfect, but I do stand by that NFTs and product market fit, when you start having to monetize straight away, is so stupid in the crypto space, where we are trying to innovate, and a lot of us are here because of that startup culture. And I just really fucking hate that is now what's happened. Like, we can't just do our thing because we can't have runway to continue on as a business if that happens.
Agree. No, I agree. I think royalties, and I think just the death of royalties was a huge issue. I mean, again, it goes to the financialization of what was going on, where we had people were selling NFTs at a loss and completely trading them around to get a token, to get access to points, which eventually got you a token that you're hoping someone else would buy at a higher price than you when you got that token. Like, speculation on speculation. It wasn't a healthy use of the ecosystem and what these were. And these weren't meant to be traded at high volume. Like, they should be lower value. There shouldn't be 1,000 sales a day of something that cost $100,000 in, scarcity as a club model. It just doesn't make sense. So, that said, Cap, any other thing before we let everyone get out of here?
No, good day. Appreciate everyone tuned in. We had our we're on 2 heavy favorites tonight for Cap's Clutch Market Parlay of the day. Tarek Skubal is on another level, so we're going Tigers and the Yankees. Skubal should do his deed, no problem. Just need the Yankees do their part, and we'll be sending a listener home.
The Yankees went through like I think 20. Wait, was it 20 innings without scoring a run? I don't remember what it was. Did they score one last night? I can't remember. It's an epic collapse.
Yeah, but Judge is having an all-time season, and no one's talking about it. Like his WAR right now in June.
Everyone's talking about it. They're like talking about him for MVP.
It's like all-time season. Like he's ahead of like Barry Bonds' greatest years. Like when he was missed, like you couldn't like he was being intentionally walked over 100 times a season. He's ahead of that pace in June. Like his wins above replacement is better than Barry Bonds' peak. Like it's pretty wild.
They haven't scored a run in, now we're looking at, I think, 27 innings. So at least at the moment, I don't know what Judge has been doing in the past 3 games. Yeah, Judge was getting all the MVP talk. Sure enough, I just expect him to curl up in the playoffs. But yeah, they haven't scored a run in 27 innings.
Good time to
maybe longer actually. Hold on.
Good time to bet when they're on it's got to turn around at some point. Today's the day.
Yeah, I'm trying to see
Make it rained out.
I'm trying to look at the box. They haven't scored a run in 27 innings. So 27 innings they haven't scored a run. Wacky. So we'll see what happens with them. But they're like it's funny. My brother is a Yankees fan, lives in New York. My dad was a Yankees fan growing up. Just one of those things where he's just feeling it. And I'm like, dude, it's 3 games in the middle of a long season that they're having a good one. But yeah, like 27 innings for that lineup with that money to not have a run is kind of wild. But
that's the beauty of baseball. You get to do it again the next day.
Yeah. I mean, that's how baseball works sometimes, but it is kind of wacky when you think of that team and how they were cooking or whatever. But I mean, Judge still batting looks like 372. With 26 home runs on and 60 RBI through the season. So still doing just fine there, but like it's crazy. I think wasn't he over 400 before that?
Yeah. Parting words. I know I said it earlier. I'm just going to leave everyone with this. This is financial advice. Pay attention. If you're into the gambling stuff, just do a little research. Make sure that those sites are proving things are fair. And the KOL who's won every time they've done a live stream and they've done the wheel of the spin, look at the odds. If the math doesn't math, there's probably something funny going on. I am not opposed to paid shills whatsoever. Get creators get paid. I am adamantly opposed. I think it's very poor to do undisclosed paid shills. Excuse me. There's a lot of undisclosed paid shills in this space. I believe there's also some funny business that goes on with some of these casinos. Not all. I'm not even going to name names because some of them I'm near certain are 100% legit. For as certain as I am on some of them, I'm 99% that some of them other ones are not legit, and it's a lot of funny business that goes on. So I'm a gambler. Do your thing. Go have fun in the casinos. I think we're probably going to see a lot more on-chain casinos before we start seeing less of them. Just don't put any money in and can't afford to lose, because if you're not a KOL that's getting one of those paid deals at the tune of $500,000 a month, your odds of winning is going to be less than the ones who are getting paid to shill it, because the levers are getting pulled to make it look like they win more often, is my true belief. And I'm not taking shots at anyone. I'm not flooding any of these brands. It's just I might have been bored at night. I don't know, but it wasn't last night, and this is just clear as day to me.
Yeah, it's be careful out there. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is just something that we talk about sometimes. So just be careful out there. Agree with that, Cap. But that said, let's let everyone sail off in their day. Appreciate everyone coming through this morning. AI with Bunch You tomorrow. Friday, I can't remember if we have an interview slated or not, but good week. Looks like we got Ovi coming on next week from Rect on Tuesday. I had to reschedule with the Jupiter drops drop going out, which I'm excited to get my hands on those as well. So talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.